It's time for Twit This Week in Tech. Man, do we have a panel. Simone de Rochefort is here from Rocket. We've got Iain Thomson from the Register, TechCrunch's Alex Wilhelm, and there isn't a topic we didn't talk about. Starting off with why movie theaters are going out of business, why Prime Day is not such a great deal, how Mixer screwed Ninja over, but Ninja had a pretty good payday, and why Subway sandwiches are not considered bread in Ireland. It's all coming up next on Twit. This Week in Tech comes to you from Twit's LastPass Studios. Securing every access point in your company doesn't have to be a challenge. LastPass unifies access and authentication to make securing your employees simple and secure, even when they're working remotely. Check out lastpass.com/twit to learn more.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Twit, This Week in Tech, episode 791, recorded Sunday, October 4th, 2020. A soupçon of Zuck. This episode of This Week in Tech is brought to you by Manscaped. Get the Manscaped Performance Package. It's the ultimate men's hygiene bundle, and you'll get 20% off plus free shipping when you go to manscaped.com/twit. And by ZipRecruiter. Hiring is challenging, especially with everything else you have to consider today, but there's one place where hiring is simple and fast and smart. That place is ZipRecruiter. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/twit. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And by Mint Mobile. Get your new unlimited wireless plan for just $30 a month. Get the plan shipped to your door for free when you go to mintmobile.com/twit. And by Barracuda. Did you know that 91% of all cyber attacks start with an email? To uncover the threats hiding in your Office 365 account, get a secure and free email threat scan at barracuda.com/twit. It's time for Twit This Week in Tech. We've got a panel that is on fire. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is the show we talk about the week's tech news, and it's, except for Iain Thomson, it's all a replacement team. We were hoping to have Christine Warren here, but she's not feeling well. But that's okay because of the fires, the smoke. We're all kind of not feeling well these days. But it took two to replace her. So Simone de Rochefort is here, her cohort on the Rocket podcast. It's so good to see you, Simone. We missed you.
Thank you for having me back on.
Thank you for coming on. And you said, I won't be on the show unless I have backup in the form of Alex Wilhelm from TechCrunch. Hello, Alex. It's great to see you. Alex is still living in my house. The haunting has stopped, I hope.
The haunting has stopped, but on the air quality front, Simone and I, being East Coasters, have been sitting relatively pretty. But I have to say, it made me miss the Bay Area more than I think it should. When everyone was suffering a lot, I wish I'd been there to
suffer with part. Us.
Yeah,
No,
I
really?
guess I just felt like I missed it.
Really? No.
Yeah.
And when it snows, I'm not going to feel like I miss it at all. I'm going to think,
come on. I really miss snow. This is one of the worst things about living in the Bay Area. Yeah, snow is 3 hours drive away, but just waking up in the morning and the lawn's covered with this virgin thing of snow and you go out and make little angels in it. I miss that a lot.
That's
the smoke, however, hell with it.
That is Iain Thomson from the Register.com. He really looks like Terry Thomas. That mustache definitely has a life of its own now.
It is going at the end of the month, so enjoy it while you can.
Why?
Yep.
Why?
Are you going to grow it again for Movember? You like cutting it off October 31st to regrow it?
Well, no, I've been keeping it because I was going to do a final week of costumes for the news team, and I was going to do that last week, but then my wife convinced me to leave it until Halloween week, which actually seems more out.
Yeah.
But I'm so looking forward to getting rid of this thing because I've never had a mustache before, and I will never have one again.
Is it bothering you? Have a little centipede on your lip?
Oh, it's just, when you wake up in the morning and you've got really bad hair because you've had a pillow over your head. Now, imagine that on your facial hair. It feels like you've just got this gooey, horrible, prickly mass on your upper lip.
Oh my God!
And it's going. I'm going to be so happy to be clean shaven again.
What are you doing with it for Halloween?
Well, I did like a month of when we started in lockdown. I did like a month of dress up for the crew just to sort of keep morale going. And so I've been growing this, and the hair has been uncut for 6 months, so I can do a really good Borat.
Oh my God.
And,
did you know? Is this your fault that he came back?
He's coming back, isn't he?
I have to say that I wasn't that into the original Borat film. This looks interesting as well, but it's kind of a one-trick pony in a way.
Yes.
On the other hand, there are classic moments, so
Special announcement from Kazakhstan Ministry of Information: Borat is back. Borat 2. The movie.
I really want to say that I am sufficiently mature as to not appreciate humor of this level, but at the same time, I'm also 12, and so I have a suspicion that I'm going to watch this and not be proud of myself at any moment while going through Borat 2. But I mean, just looking at this preview, I mean, I'm in. All right,
so
I'm in for
silly.
$10.
It's so silly.
If you watch the end of the trailer, it says, "Thanks, Iain Thomson, for bringing Borat back."
He's Borat's shopping for Halloween costumes, so it's.
Apparently
he's just like
crashes.
us.
Yeah.
He crashes a white supremacy concert and a Mike Pence press conference.
Oh, that wasn't for Borat. He's been doing that.
Oh, right.
Yeah, no, this is Sasha Baron Cohen, who has a really interesting sense of humor and boldly goes where no liberal has gone before in order to expose the corruption, the venality, and just the stupidity in some cases of the white supremacist movement. And that is something. That is something.
Well, if you ever see his Ali G stuff,
oh yeah,
I wasn't a massive fan, but the drugs episode where he's with a member of the Metropolitan Police, he goes, "So this is Class A drugs. This is the best stuff, right?" No, that's the legal classification.
Really,
the Ali G interviews with like the bishop, they had like a Catholic priest on one time, and he didn't know what he was getting into, and it's just one of the most awkward bits of television I've ever seen, but also one of the absolutely funniest things I've ever watched. I had like one eye closed while I was watching it, like trying to just see a little bit. Brutal, but such a good ability to stay in character and really bring out a moment in kind of live recording. It's not like they get multiple takes of a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. You got to get it right the first time. Actually, that brings us to a story because, and this would have been normally in the bottom of the pile, but I actually think it's kind of a big deal. The decision to postpone the James Bond movie until next spring at the earliest means that movie theaters, which have just been hanging on, hoping they could make a little bit of money with James Bond, are now thinking, it's over. In fact, two of the biggest movie chains in the U.S. and the U.K. are kind of Regal and Cineworld are apparently planning to close all theaters in the U.S. and the U.K. next week. And the question is, how long can AMC hold out? I wonder if this Borat, there was initial hope. Remember when Trolls World Tour came out? I don't, but I hear that when if you had kids,
Big fan, Leo.
That's how I mark time, actually.
Absolutely.
Days Trolls World Tour.
Yeah. So that was one of the first movies to come out during COVID, during quarantine, and they streamed it, and $20 a pop, and it did pretty well. And I think the Hollywood said, "Oh, thank God we can charge $20, kind of make some of our money back through streaming." And then that was it. It was completely flatlined. And notice you don't see those $20 rentals very often anymore. There are very few first-run movies available to stream. It's terrible.
But the movie
really
companies have been doing
Oh, go on.
Oh, sorry, the movie companies have been doing this for a while. Surely there was a thing a couple of years ago where you could pay an exorbitant amount of money, and provided you had the right kit in
only
your
a
house.
handful of people would do that.
Yeah, but I mean, this seems cinemas are currently. I mean, I hate it because our local cinema is really good and it's struggling, but cinemas are dead. basically, you can't socially distance in a cinema and expect that to be an economical business. So surely it's in Hollywood's interest to set up some kind of system where you can do these sort of things. I think they're just so worried about IP protection that they're going to let the whole thing burn rather than actually go for a sensible solution.
I think that might be it. Disney's charging $30 to watch Mulan on Disney Plus. I can't imagine anybody paying that.
Okay, so Leo, I said that on Twitter, and I was absolutely destroyed by parents of young kids who said, look, we were going to go see it in the theaters anyways. It was going to be $100 plus a babysitter.
That's
now
true.
It's $30. And I was like, all right, parents, all right. They're like throwing tomatoes at me. It was brutal.
Well, they're saying that, but it has not propped up the movie industry. Now, remember Tenet, which was a very hotly anticipated film. I couldn't wait to see Christopher Nolan's newest. It was an IMAX movie. It did all right globally, $300 million worldwide, did terribly in the U.S. And in fact, in this past week, it was beaten by the re-release of Hocus Pocus.
My goodness, that's embarrassing.
That rocks. B, I think all the movies that we're talking about here, like Mulan and Tenet, these are like hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollar movies. I feel like those are the ones that could draw in the most eyes on streaming, but also are the ones that are going to struggle the most to make back their money because they were so freaking expensive to make. Rightfully so, because people need to get paid. But it's just, it's such a tricky situation.
They really didn't want to release Tenet on streaming because it was shot for IMAX. They really thought maybe the time has come to release a movie in the theaters. People will go back to the theaters. And they were, I guess they were wrong.
It was
at least
the guinea
in the US.
pig, right?
Yeah, it was the guinea pig.
Like, it was the one that was out there. Like, let's try it, see how it works. And it did not work. And in the US, I don't know. I don't know when I could imagine going back to a theater myself.
No, I don't care how good a movie is. I'm not going to risk my life to see it.
Yeah. No film is worth that. But here's my hope. I really hope this brings back more like $75 million movies that might work in streaming. I feel like we had this like everything had to be an enormous blockbuster. All film budgets were like $200-300 million. Everything had to have this enormous marketing campaign, television ads, Chevy tie-ins, terrible music. And it became this enormous production because everyone was betting on these kind of like Avengers-style hits or Avengers-scale hits. Bring back smaller movies.
Well, that's kind of what Disney did. They had this movie. It only cost $25 million to make. In 27 years ago, starred Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, and Kathy Najimy as witches. They said, well, let's re-release this poorly reviewed 27-year-old horror movie.
And
it's a classic.
It earned for knowing what Hocus Pocus is.
It was in 2,570 theaters. It earned $1.9 million.
Oh, man.
But you see, there is a school of thought.
Yeah.
There is a school of thought this could lead to a real resurgence in the British film industry because we've always kind of focused on making
cheap, crappy movies. Yeah.
I was about to say economical and very, very well-produced
prestige movies
with lots of backgrounds and soft cushions and some nice English accents and the rest of it. But, you know, why spend $100 million on a movie when you can do a pretty good movie for $3 to $5 million and, you know, make your money back on the streaming side of it? I'd love, these sort of smaller things.
I think the thing is streaming services like Netflix are doing that. I think the bigger studios might have the problem unless they're like a Disney who has their own streaming platform because that's where the audiences are. So Netflix can release like 1,000 cheap movies and people will watch them because they already have Netflix. But unless you have a deal with a streamer, then you don't have a way to distribute that movie except to do the $30 rental and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of torn. Apple TV, for example, seems to be throwing an awful lot of money at doing these, trying to become the next Netflix and throwing all these shows. I got to say, the space one looks quite interesting, but, you know, an awful lot of this stuff just looks like, okay, what were the B scripts that we couldn't quite sell to anyone else? Right, get that out there.
Did you watch, being a British fellow and a fan, I presume, of The Beautiful Game, have you watched Ted Lasso?
I haven't, no.
The premise is it's an American football coach, college football coach who is very successful, comes to England to manage a Premier League football club, and hilarity ensues.
Yeah, I mean, I love Jason as an actor, but it just two very different games. I mean, you've got the American side, which is basically runny, kicky, throwy
but that's
ball.
The joke, Ian. Of course, it's different games.
I know, but I'm sorry. It's a completely different mindset.
There's funny moments where he says, well, "Okay, so they're going out in the field. It's a pitch. You called a field a pitch? Yeah, it's called a pitch. Okay." There's all these cultural moments, which actually aren't that funny, but there's a lot of them. It's, believe it or not, a fairly sweet movie. But Apple has a problem because almost everybody who's watching Apple TV Plus at this point got it for free when they got an iPhone a year ago.
Yes.
You don't renew that, by the way. I bought an Apple TV a few months ago. You don't get another year. That year's going to run out for most of us November 1st. At which point, Apple's going to be faced with a PR problem because I have to think most of the people who got that free year, and I'm including myself, are not going to renew. It's just, you've seen it all. There's nothing new on there. That's a problem.
I didn't even.
Yeah, that was really bad timing for them because they had their
they didn't
shows,
know about COVID
not very many
ago.
shows, and then the pandemic, and now no one can shoot shows.
They can't produce. Yeah.
Hopefully, they're saying that Succession might start shooting again in New York this fall, and I will physically stand on every bridge at once and keep people out of this city if it means that I can have more Succession.
I'm with you, Simone. Let's lock off New York City just to get Brian Cox and company. I got to know what's going to happen, right?
I watched one episode of Succession and gave up on it.
Oh no,
entirely.
you can't just watch.
I don't know
one.
what.
No.
What's the appeal?
Slap him. Will you slap him?
I'm on my way to Rhode Island right now.
I'm sorry. It's like The Wire. Everyone, my wife in particular, is just like, you've got to watch The Wire. You've got to watch The Wire. I watched a couple of episodes. It's like, it's okay, but I'm not about to spend the next 60 hours of my TV watching time covering the entire, it's 6 or 7 series or whatever.
No. Simone and I are right. Succession is actually one of the best TV shows ever done, as was The Wire. But you do have to watch the first several episodes of Succession before you really understand how horrible this family is. And a lot of the pleasure of watching Succession is going, oh, my God, they're so horrible. Right, Simone?
I agree.
It's
the family dynamics that are fascinating.
Yes.
Okay, or you could watch Still Game, seasons 1 through 9 again and enjoy Scottish humor and laugh and enjoy yourself. And it's popcorn. You don't have to watch people be terrible. I live in America in 2020. I open the door and the crap tornado spins into the house. The last thing I want to do is stick my head into another bucket of fecal
matter. And nothing bad ever happened in Scotland, right?
Exactly. All they do is talk about the weather and each other. It's lovely.
Ian's actually Scottish. I'll let him defend his land.
Are you kidding? Scotland is...
It's grim. It's grim.
It's not
Didn't you see Train Spotting, lad? It's the
come on.
It's the grimmest country in the world.
I did love that when Trainspotting and Trainspotting 2 was shown over here, they had to have subtitles in.
Yeah, because
it added an extra feature because the subtitles took out the swear words. So the phrase "rad c word" got turned into "terrible person" or something.
No.
Are we doing this entire bit because none of us watched the Minecraft stream? So
yes, exactly. You nailed it. Congratulations. You win the prize.
About it.
We will talk about it. I'm going to save it for later. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Because there were other things that happened. Google, maybe you didn't notice. I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't. It was a very relaxing event. Had a night in on Wednesday. We could talk about that as well. There's some news. I just, you know what? I thought we'd start with something fun and light because honestly, what else we got but TV to watch?
So true.
There's some good stuff. I don't know how. I guess they produced stuff last year that just never got released, but there's new stuff coming out that's quite good all the time.
I mean, the big problem is in the UK is soap operas. Because, they're having soap operas having to deal with COVID. Britain's longest running soap opera is a radio show on Radio 4 called The Archers, which has been going since, I think, 1947. But they didn't even, they didn't cover COVID for like the first 3 months of lockdown. And then they had to go on pause. And when The Archers goes on pause, Britain loses its mind. Because
it's audio only?
Yeah.
That would be easy to produce safely.
Well, you'd think, but everyone had to get organized. But also, they had to build COVID into the storyline without panicking people. And The Archers it's the nearest you're going to get to a cult in the UK. You know, if you go onto the Archers Addicts forums on Facebook, my goodness, it's just right down the rabbit hole. There are people here who've been listening since birth.
Wow.
And they will, any inconsistency they will spot.
It's very sad, but we've killed all of our old, really, like Days of Our Lives and the classics. But I am very happy to say soap operas are taping again in New York City. Simone, you can run over. And you'll be very interested how they're doing this. When they have to do a love scene, they can do socially distanced for most of it. You wear a mask till you're on camera. They separate. But there are times, as you know, in soap operas, when you have to make out with somebody. What they do is they do a quick cut, and the actor's significant other comes in. They make out with that person, only showing the back of their head or whatever. I kid you not. This is the article from Fortune, how soap operas are filming love scenes, and it's bizarre. The bold and the beautiful.
Are they compensating the significant others? Like, what is that job? And is it, like, SAG appropriate? Like, do you become a member of the Actors Guild at that point? I need to know.
Well, they also will bring in a mannequin.
Oh, yeah. Now we're talking. Oh.
I mean, there's always been a certain amount of smoke and mirrors in that, though. One of my favorite stories was from Game of Thrones with who's the tall Hawaiian guy?
Jason Momoa. Yeah.
Yeah. When he was filming his scene with Emily Clark, which is basically a rape scene because it's Game of Thrones. But in order to diffuse the tension, he wore an enormous pink fluffy willy protector.
I read about that.
And just to try and raise a smile. But the idea of making out with your significant other on screen, it's a very good point. Do they get SAG benefits? It's just like...
Well, let's see. When Bowden's Flo Fulton is kidnapped and chained to a radiator, its co-star, Darren Brooks, as Wyatt Spencer, comes to the rescue. It really called for a big embrace and a kiss. So once she was freed, we stopped tape. Katrina, the actress's husband, came in, and they finished the scene. We see the back of his head, and I think it's very convincing.
Because soap operas are known for their photorealism.
Oh yeah, I think it's convincing.
Anyway, I don't know how we definitely got down a rat hole here. Let me take a break. We will talk about Minecraft. We will talk about. We're waiting. Apple, the other shoe, has not dropped. We know Apple has an iPhone up its sleeve, but when we could talk about that. Google's announcement. Google says it's going to give $1 billion to the publishers. We'll talk a little bit about that.
Oh, that's nice of them.
And Twitter, by the way, just a little word of warning, you cannot tweet that you hope the president dies from COVID, because it turns out, who knew this, that all this time Twitter has prohibited posts calling for people's harm or death, which must come as quite a shock to your co-host, Brianna Wu, on Rocket.
Oh, yeah.
And to the squad members and a few other people. I've even gotten death threats on Twitter. I had no idea that was illegal. So I haven't threatened anybody back, though, I'm glad to say. We will come back. TikTok also has had a reprieve, which is a good thing for Fleetwood Mac. I'll tell you why.
The pumpkin.
I'll tell you why. There's a lot more to come. Now, Simone, you may want to cover your shell-like ears for this next commercial. As many of us know, just look at that mustache. We've been in quarantine for some time, which means we probably haven't been grooming as much as we should. It's time to manscape. This is okay. You can all just go away right now. You can all just go away right now. No, I think manscaping is great. This is the Manscaped. I'm holding up for those of you listening. The Manscaped Pure Performance Package, which is a great subscription package. They have something new, though. I'm going to mention the performance package because it comes with the Lawnmower 3.0 trimmer, which is What are you laughing at? Which is honest. Have I never done these ads for you before, Ian? Is this the first time you've heard this?
No. Listen, look, we all do manscaping because if you cut the weeds back, the tree looks bigger. So no, go for it.
You took the words. Poor Simone. She didn't know. We didn't want.
I didn't need to know this about Ian.
I'm glad you're all just taking care of this.
Yes, you want to. You know what? I'm sure you feel the same way, Simone. You don't want to come out of quarantine looking like a Sasquatch. One has to even if you're alone in your quarantine, have some self-respect. So they've just come out with a new thing, which let me finish showing you this. This is the Lawnmower 3.0. Beautiful ceramic blades, which means they wear well. They're extra sharp, and they vibrate 7,000 RPM, which means you can barely hear it. And the faster it moves, the more accurate and the less pull, the less nicking. It's got this great light, so if you're going in to the deep forest, you can really see where you're going. I love this. Plus, it has a USB charger, so it's got a little stand, which I have on my sink, just at the ready at any time I need it. I could just whip out the Lawnmower 3.0. This is awesome. We don't have it yet, so I want to talk about something new, but I can't show you. You'll have to go to manscaped.com/twit to see it. This is the new Weed Whacker. See, there it is on the dais there. It's right underneath the trimmer. The Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer. Now, let me tell you something. As a man of a certain age, when you get past 50, hair starts coming out of the most surprising places. You really don't want a hairy ear or a hairy nose. The Weed Whacker, waterproof, 9,000 RPM, 360-degree rotary dual blade system. I've tried the cheaper versions of this. There's nothing like this. This works so well. It has a proprietary skin-safe technology which helps prevent nicks and snags and tugs. You don't want to stick anything in your nose that's going to snag or tug. Trust me. And guys, can I just tell you something? And I'm sure Simone in her heart of hearts agrees. 79% of partners polled admitted long nose hair, major turnoff. And don't get me started on ear hair. This is the best tool for the job. Then there's the Lawnmower 3.0 trimmer. There's, of course, a whole variety of potions and lotions like the Crop Preserver and the Crop Reviver. When you get the performance package, you get 2 free gifts, Manscaped boxers, and a lovely travel bag. You'll also receive a replaceable blade every 3 months to keep your weed whacking and lawn mowing time clean and enjoyable. It's very important. So thank you, Manscaped, for making our orifices a little bit less hairy. 20% off plus free shipping right now at manscaped.com/twit. Manscaped, manscaped.com/twit. Yes, 20% off and free shipping. This would be a great gift for Christmas, for the holidays, for the man in your life, and a little hint, perhaps, that you have higher aspirations than being married to a cave dweller. Manscaped.com/twit. I got an email the other day and said, I don't tune into Twit to hear about Leo shaving his nether regions.
Why not?
The thing is,
Why not? Exactly.
But it's the thing no one tells you about getting older, and it's really irritating. It's just like, I passed my half century last year, and they don't tell you that your hair starts growing in and your ear and nose hair starts growing out.
It's nature's little joke, like, cruel little joke.
I've never had ear hair before. What is the evolutionary argument for ear hair?
There is none.
I don't understand that.
This has been At Home with Leo on Twitter.
TMI.
No, I mean, my wife took a certain amount of flack when we first went up to you, because she doesn't shave her armpits or her legs or anything like that. She doesn't expect me to. Why should I expect her to? But it was just like, she doesn't shave her legs in. It's like, yeah, well, I'm not shaving mine, so why the hell should I expect her to do the same? Yeah.
I grew up in the 60s and the 70s, and nobody did. It's just mores. It's what it's what style and fashion tells you.
Also, we're 7 months into a pandemic now where no one can leave their homes. So
you know what
it's
I did?
that time again.
You know what I did
Frankly.
yesterday? I felt so bad for my wife. I went out and I bought a foot bath with a heater and a massager. And I said, honey, I don't know how to give you a pedicure, but please put your feet in here. And I gave her a massage and a foot massage. And she said, don't cut my nails. I said, you cut them, I'll file them. She didn't want me to paint them, but I've offered to. We have to help each other in these difficult times.
That's really nice.
Aww.
Yeah.
I love that.
Aww.
You
Soft-heartedly.
I highly recommend it. It was a fun thing to do. We did it. We were outside. It was a nice day. For the first time, fresh air in quite a while. It was kind of nice. It was very relaxing. I enjoyed it too. And we listened to Michael Cohen's book while we did it.
Just to set the ambiance right there.
Isn't that romantic? Oh.
Absolute, Romeo there.
I kid you not. We were at the point where he goes, and then the FBI, without knocking, came in my house and took everything. It's like a mob. It's like a mob memoir. It's hysterical. Okay, enough. Although I have to say, I've been waking up every morning for the last couple of days going, who's got it next? Who's next? Who's next? It's been a scary time in Washington, D.C.
Well, I mean, it's also... we may be coming to this later, but I do have to say that, everyone's just like, oh, I hope so-and-so dies. I hope so-and-so dies. Okay, we'll keep that
bad
quiet.
juju. Don't say that. That's bad mojo. No one should die. Enough have died from this.
I wouldn't wish COVID on my worst enemy, and Trump isn't even on the top 5 of that. So, it's just like... No,
I wish him well. I hope he recovers. It's terrifying. And however you feel about the president, it is very scary when, the first inkling that something was going on, a plane spotter who keeps track of all of the air traffic noticed that the 3B Mercury, 2 of them have lifted off and were flying over Washington, D.C. These are the command and control planes for a nuclear war that go up. It's called looking glass, that go up in case the Strategic Air Command is destroyed in a preemptive attack. They have these flying command and control that can launch nuclear weapons from submarines, atomic missiles. And they went up half an hour before it was learned the president had tested positive. And there's a good reason for that. It is very destabilizing, very risky when the president of the United States is at a commission. And it was a very clear message from our armed forces: do not mess with us right now.
They said it was pre-planned.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Of course
where we stand on that.
They said, right?
Of course.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I'm sure they're in the air all the time for training exercises and something and so forth. But this was of note, and I think not a coincidence it went up 30 minutes before this announcement.
Well, I know you love snarky British humor, Leo. So the BBC news quiz at the start for this week was recorded on Thursday night, and they actually opened the show with, "This show was recorded before we heard about President Trump's infection. We hope that he recovers fully and that he gets better. And as a president."
Oh,
man.
me.
I'm not going to read the chat room now for like 2 minutes after that one. I'm going to pass on reading chat.
Wait, there's chat? Oh, man.
Yes, there's if you go to
Twit.tv
twit.tv/live or something, there's a chat room
It's
that
okay. I
always
can't
have
read and talk at the
Simone,
same time. We know this.
This is only your second time on Twit. I think we generally advise that until your 10th or 11th time, you stay away from the chat room. You have to
I'll stay away from the chat room.
You have to be acclimated.
I find the chat people are 99% of the time wonderful.
They're great. Oh, I love them.
There are a couple of, I'm not going to say the W word because this is a family show, but no, I mean,
weirdos.
But by and large,
Wookiees?
Wankers, but no.
Nice. Listen, we
now
just
have a show
got the
title.
whole thing on ball shaving. We can let's dispense with the formalities.
The show title is, what is it? Wookiees, witches, and wankers. Weirdos, Wookiees, and wankers, ladies and gentlemen.
It could be worse.
I should mention military.com said those looking glass planes were launched. It was coincidental. They were part of pre-planned missions, purely coincidental. Believe what you want.
And, it's interesting. The amount of stuff that gets done on this is actually quite shocking when you look into it.
It's actually fascinating and somewhat reassuring.
Well, I mean, I did a speaking tour with another guy who's been covering this. I don't know if you know, there's hundreds of millions of dollars worth of $2 bills in a bunker ready for nuclear war. Because after nuclear war, money is going to become essentially worthless because there's going to be so much of it lying around. So they shrink-wrapped about $500 million in $2 bills and put them in a bunker because nobody uses those, and those will become the currency after the apocalypse. They have these planes constantly circling around. There are huge shelters ready to go.
What nutjob wrote a paper that convinced the Pentagon to bury $2 bills because those would be the future currency?
There's some drunk grad student who's like, bought it.
Yeah.
I mean, in the 1970s, when they introduced the $2 bill on the understanding that people would want to use it, nobody did. So they had all these $2 bills, which they didn't know what to do with. So they shrink-wrapped them, stored them in storage.
You know who would buy those? Steve Wozniak. He used to buy, seriously, he loves $2 bills. He would buy them, apparently, I didn't know this, you can get them from the mint uncut. So he'd buy them in big sheets, like of 100 $2 bills, and then he'd cut them up and bind them into a pad, like 4 bills, like a pad of paper, 4 bills per sheet, and then he would. This is very Woz. He would go into stores. They'd say, "Oh, that'll be $8," and he'd go, "Okay," and he'd tear off a pad and he'd cut out the $2 bills, and he'd say, "Here," and he hoped they would freak out and think they were counterfeit because nobody knows there's even a $2 bill. Right. And the fact that he was cutting them with scissors off of a pad, it kind of implies that maybe this is something he bought at Woolworths. He just loved that stuff. That was in a nutshell.
You know who else buried money, though? Pablo Escobar. So maybe we shouldn't be imitating that. The bunches of money. Come on.
I mean, just really think it through. Who's going to dig this up? I mean, what is the deal? So, okay, the world.
Yeah, who's going to be left to?
We have a big nuclear war. Currency's no good anymore. And then you write it on a plaque somewhere. There's $1 million in $2 bills buried here. Dig them up and spread them around.
Have a big neon sign that comes up. It's very Fallout 76, honestly.
It's just bizarre. I don't know. All right.
I'm going to be dead. I plan to be dead. I live in New York City, so I'm not going to make it out.
That's the best reason to live in New York City. You want to be on ground zero if it happens.
Die fast.
Yeah. You won't even know.
Good pizza. It's
that and good pizza.
That and pizza, yeah.
But you don't want to know, right? You don't want to slow, lingering radiation death for sure.
Yes, I do. I want to fight to the end. Maybe I'm just less depressed than I used to be, but I want to survive that. I want to be there. I don't want to be the first one to be vaporized and turned into carbon dust. I want to be the last person with a bone in my hand fighting off the hyenas.
I can see you as Snake Plissken with an eye patch.
Hell with that. I'm getting a bottle of good scotch, going out into the back garden, getting the ultimate suntan.
I'm with Simone. I want to be on ground zero, and it's over and done with, and you don't even know what happened because it happened so fast. It's just you're incinerated. That's the way. And what you don't want to be is like in a small town like Petaluma when all the big cities are destroyed, and now we got to figure out where the $2 bills are buried. That's the last thing I want.
Well, I would say just for viewers, if you don't want to get depressed, don't watch a British documentary called Threads, which was based on actual war plans done in 1984. It's kind of like, I think the American version was The Day After, but that was kind of a Disneyfied version. Threads was
when I was young, and maybe this was a morbid streak of mine, but I read all like On the Beach, the classic. Remember that? They're in Australia. Neville Shute,
I'm an official member of the Neville Shute fan club.
That was a great novel. So the plot is they're in Australia, so they're the last to go. So civilization has not only been destroyed, but the nuclear fallout is basically destroying the Earth. Nobody will survive this, and they're in Australia.
That's my nightmare. If you want $2 bills, though, here's my hint.
Okay.
The Washington State Ferry Services are the only people I've seen hand out $2 bills as change. So if you're looking for those $2 bills, just head up to Washington.
Oh, nice. And you
Drop
get
the
a ferry ride to boot. But you have to pay in hundreds or something so that you get a lot of change.
So weird. Yeah.
Prime Day. Who's excited?
No. Sorry. Not a fan of Amazon.
It's marketing. It's marketing bollocks. I'm sorry. It's just like, here's a thing that we're going to do some. It's kind of like black.
Haven't they not had any good deals for Prime Day for the last 5 years?
They really aren't good deals, are they? Now, Simone, you said you're not a fan. Do you actually not use Amazon? Are you boycotting Amazon?
I don't use Amazon. I will say I have had slips in the last couple of years, but last Christmas I did manage to do an Amazon free Christmas. So yay. I'm not judgy about it. People make their own consumer choices, but for me, because I'm from Seattle originally, or from Washington State, it's kind of like a specific bitter feud that I have with Jeff Bezos. That means I don't buy things at Amazon.
Is it hard? Is it difficult? I have never tried this.
No, it's not actually. I will say part of the reason I can do this is because I live in New York. Yeah. So for me, it's more of a matter of just walking out to whatever store is closest and buying something there. And I do that because I would rather buy something that's already been shipped to the city than ship something in. But I totally understand that people in smaller towns don't have that option. So
that is a waste of resources to ship additional thing in, even when it's already here. But in COVID, you obviously aren't going out to shop.
Oh yeah, I am, baby.
Really?
Okay, I will say I have been doing way more online shopping. So you are not wrong. Yeah, but for grocery shopping and everything, I still go to the grocery store.
Yeah, well, you kind of have to. Yeah, you kind of have to. Yeah. We've tried all the delivery services, but it's always hit or miss. And I just, I get suited up.
I saw this as you walked in.
I wear my.
Hang on.
Have you ever been in a men's locker room?
Me? Specifically me?
No, I think everyone but you, Simone, on this one, actually.
This has a certain resemblance to a piece of gear people wear before they go out and play hockey. But it's actually this is made in Canada. This is called the O2 mask. I've lost but this is like N98. So if I wear this and then I wear a face shield, or I put on my safety glasses and wear my mask. And then the problem with grocery stores is if they let too many people in, you can't really socially distance. So I'm very careful. I don't go down an aisle until there's no one there, and I run down and grab it and then come out. I'm paranoid because I'm old and I'm in the high risk groups.
Was that mask helpful for you with the smoke in California?
Yes, I just got it, but it absolutely is. And before, I've been making my own masks, which is really fun. I like to sew. It turns out, who knew?
Ooh.
I know, and I make pretty masks that are probably not very effective, but I wear them. And then I got a mask fitter, which goes around your face to hold it in, and that works even better. And this is kind of the next step. But if I'm going to go out to a store, I want to take every precaution. I don't want to. I'm very nervous.
For sure. Yeah.
I don't want to get this thing.
Well, right. I've just got my new mask in, and I've gone full meme.
Oh, I love it. What do they call this? The fire dog? The dog who's sitting in. This is fine, dog. Yeah, I love it. That's a good mask.
Got to be done.
I want to go back to Prime Day because I have a beef with it that I want to bring up before I forget about it, which is they call it Prime Day, and then it's 2 days.
Prime Days. Should be Prime Days.
Well, just like how Black Friday's a month now. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm putting on my mask.
Oh, let me see. Oh, that's cute. Now, is that intentionally mashing your frock?
No, it is not. But it is my nicest mask.
It's really cute. Yeah. You didn't make that, though. Did you buy it?
I bought it on Etsy. Yeah. Knitted for Charm, I think, is the store.
Etsy has a lot of great masks.
Oh,
Yeah.
But coming back to Prime Day, I've got my big beef with that, and also Black Friday and the rest of it, is that tech companies are making downgraded kit to sell on sale just for these days. Is that true?
So Prime Day, you might be thinking you're buying the full quality version of something that's intentionally cheesier.
Like what?
You're getting something with a for example, I bought a laptop a couple of years ago on Black Friday, and then I checked with the spec back from a month ago. They downgraded the spec. They were building basically obsolescent parts into a laptop, selling it cheap. And this apparently is something which is quite common. And I've been trying to do some digging into this, but it seems that an awful lot of the electronics devices that we're dealing with on these kind of sales days are specifically designed for the sales days to keep profit margins up. So it's really worth
give you cheap stuff, Ian. They're not going to be like, oh, you know what? Let's just make less money today. Let's just give everyone a deal. No, that's not how capitalism works. Of course they're screwing you.
Damn it. It's called
a sale. That
reminds me of
last year. It's not the same thing because I don't think they did it like intentionally to be obsolete. But the Nintendo Switches that were on sale for Black Friday last year were not the new battery model that had just come out. It was the older model that they were just like, let's get that off the shelf. Let's just get them out of here. But it wasn't necessarily totally clear for your average person buying a Switch on Black Friday.
So it sounds like Black Friday and Prime Day are the worst times to try to buy stuff instead of the best times. Is that fair?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Wow. All right. Yeah. I've learned something today. And Simone, if you won't buy at Amazon online, would you buy at Walmart?
Oh, I try not to, but I've done that. I've done it.
See, that's part of the problem I have is I acknowledge the problem with Amazon, but I don't feel like Walmart's any better.
They're not. I mean, that's the thing is that with ethical consumerism, there's really not a perfect solution.
That's an oxymoron.
Their compromises.
Ethical consumerism. It doesn't.
Yeah, I think everyone just has to pick their own battles and fight their own battles, and that's at the end of the day all you can do. Because like, I'm not going to hurt Amazon. They're not like, we got to get Simone on our platform. It's so frustrating. It's it's just a choice.
No, I mean, I'm with you. I've boycotted Amazon for many years because I like to buy local, buy small, and the rest of it. But there are some things I can't get elsewhere. Try buying Captain tape anywhere else other than Amazon, and you're onto a loser.
We talked last week about Sidewalk. We've been talking about it all week. This was the network Amazon announced a while ago, but finally kind of rolled out at their event last week. This is the mesh network Amazon wants to create it's really a Ring product, I guess, which is also Amazon. The idea is a low band, it's called low-Ra network that can go 2 to 5 miles with the transmitters, but everybody who has a Ring device or an Amazon Echo can be a hub and continue to spread that out around the neighborhood, ultimately putting a mesh over the entire neighborhood that can be used for geolocating. Their first product they announced was a Mailbox Sensor, but they said you'll never lose your dog again because we'll know exactly where your dog is in the mesh at all times. I imagine Amazon also intends to put this in their delivery trucks. Maybe even, it's probably too expensive to put in packages because you need a transmitter, but this could be hugely valuable for Amazon's logistics as well. If you don't trust Amazon, how do you feel about the idea of an Amazon kind of wiring with? You don't have to do anything. It's not up to you. Wiring your neighborhood.
Okay, so Leo, whenever I'm with my in-laws, I go around to the rooms that I'm in and I unplug all the Echoes and Dots because I don't trust them, and all the Google Homes as well. Because my father-in-law likes technology, so there's a lot of gadgets.
You. Alex has been here.
He's stuck with me for life.
I support you.
Our 17-year-old, he'll be 18 in about a month, goes around putting all the Amazon devices and the Google devices with the cameras face down. He just goes around the house because he doesn't want to be spied on, and he turns off the Nest camera when he goes out on the deck. And it's
I don't want to live in a Popeye.
No, I mean, I think. I mean, I refuse to have any of those devices in the house because I don't see the cost-benefit analysis.
God, I'm just here with a bunch of Luddites. How can you be in a technology podcast? Hate this stuff.
That we're all together, joining hands in our anti-Amazon, anti-camera observation world here. This is great for me.
Oh, my God.
Well, no, I mean, this has been one of the things that working from home has really sort of made things interesting as a couple, because Monica has heard me during my working day and has been kind of shocked about the amount of profanity which goes on in my day-to-day business.
He works for the Register, of course.
Well, no, I mean, I don't want Amazon or Google, anyone else listening in to me shouting and screaming at people.
Okay, let me ask you. What do you guys do about this? Your cell phone. It's got a microphone, 2 or 3 cameras. It's got GPS, and it's always on the internet. What do you do about that? Do you?
Well, that's the thing. I've already got a spy in my home. It's my iPhone.
Well, you might as well get everything else.
No, that's not how spies work.
Alex, when you turn off your in-laws, all of their devices, do you also put your phone in a lead-lined box?
No, I put myself in a lead line box and the phone on top so I can still get tweets. That's the correct way to do that. No, look, Leo, it's like saying, oh, you've been shot once. Why don't you get shot 1,000 more times? It's the same thing. It's not. I can try to have a more secure, safe, personal digital environment and not put cameras and microphones all over my house attached to companies with spotty track records about privacy. At least my phone, this is an iPhone 11 something. I don't know. Someone can tell me what it is. It's got 2 cameras, not 3. I don't think it's with bad ones. But like Apple actually has a reasonable history with privacy because they're not an advertising company. Amazon and Google are huge advertising companies. I don't trust them. I don't.
Yeah. I mean, all it takes is about half an hour of work. You can lock down. I mean, I'm a Pixel user. I had Nexus before that. I'm sold on Android. That's fine. But all it takes is half an hour of work. You can lock this stuff down. You can turn off the microphone. You can activate it with a simple button push. But I don't want a phone that's listening in on me the whole time. And Google is making it purposely difficult to do that. But that's their business. It's my business to get in their way.
Compare and contrast you 3 with me. I turn on all beacons, everything. It's all on. The network's on. Everything's on. Am I like somehow, is my life worse because of that? Has anything gone on? I've been doing this my whole life. I sit on camera 20 hours a week. I show my home address. I show your home address. I don't.
I'm still slightly mad about that.
I'm so sorry. I apologize. I forget sometimes that people care. I don't feel like I'm suffering because of that. The police haven't come and dragged me off. I'm not in Amazon prison. I don't get more ads than you do.
But why give it up for free? You know, it's like this stuff is valuable. If they're willing to pay me for this stuff, fine. But why give it up for free?
Why not?
Also, it's precedent setting.
I think it is a slippery slope because when Apple introduced Face ID to the iPhone, I was very against it. I was determined not to get the phone with the Face ID. I love Touch ID so much. And then I did get it. And I was like, okay, well, I'll turn it off when I go through airports. I'll be really careful. And lo and behold, I don't do that anymore. I'm very complacent with Face ID. And I think similarly, the more that we allow tech companies to encroach on our privacy, the more we'll just be like, oh, well, nothing bad has happened yet. I guess it must be okay. And that's how you get a
But what's going to happen?
Damn right.
Is Jeff Bezos going to come to my house and force feed me Amazon products? I mean,
we have Amazon selling data to police departments and selling Face ID technology to the military. We have a situation that could, with bad actors, get completely out of control.
I would submit,
I agree totally.
If we have a situation like that, we have so much of a bigger problem than just the fact that you've got a lot of data online. If you've got a government that is at this point going to start dragging people off, we're in much deeper trouble. And there are much more proximate ways they can grab you, including just taking you off the streets.
No, I don't think it's that serious. They're not going to be dragging people off the streets. They're going to be saying, someone will have a quiet word with you and say, look, we just happened to notice that you were those websites and the rest of that. Maybe you might like to tone down your criticism of certain things.
When that happens, I will be the first to let you know.
Also, one more nuance to this is like I want to have kids, and I want them to be able to choose for themselves how much of their data is collected. And I'm going to be
too late for my children, unfortunately. And that's when I agree with you, like 100%. I wish I had shielded my children better.
Well, I've got to say, I feel phenomenally lucky to have grown through my teens and 20s in a time when digital photography was not available, because my reputation would be trashed right now. Some of the pictures that could have been taken in those years, you know, and now it's all online. Everyone is sticking the stuff online, and we're either going to have to come to a point where you understand. What I hope is that we'll come to a point where people will accept everyone is imperfect and the rest of it, because there's always evidence online. but I fear in the current puritanical streak of things, and it'll be used against people.
Yes. Absolutely. I mean, like all the pictures on
agree.
Getty of me are from when I weighed like 50 pounds more and I look terrible, and I can't get rid of them somehow. So like I'm just stuck with all these fat pics.
Poor
of me
Alex.
Thank
you know
you.
what?
Thank you. It's
you know
terrible.
what? Sometime you're going to say all the pictures on Getty of a younger me, and then you're going to be happy.
Yeah,
With your
I did run a
3-foot-long
5K
ear
today.
hair, you'll look back fondly on those pictures.
No, so I bought a landscaper, lawnmower, weed whacker, whatever it was.
Good.
a
See,
weed whacker.
good. See, that ad worked. I take it then you are not going to use your palm print to go into the Amazon Go store. And by the way, it's not just Amazon Go. They want to sell this to retailers everywhere. This is the new technology Amazon's proposing.
Yeah, let's give that to them because they'd never have used that at all.
But wait. So Apple's very clear stated policy with biometrics, fingerprint and face, is it never leaves the device, right? It's stored on... Well, you may not believe it. I kind of do because there's no reason for them to save it. They stored in the secure enclave. There is a hash that's sent that is not reversible. It's not used, can't be used to identify you. But Amazon says to make sure it's safe, we encrypt the data and upload it to our servers. So they're making a virtue out of doing exactly the opposite of what Apple does.
No, I mean, there's the rub. It's kind of like, let's give you this biometric data. We won't abuse it, honestly, but, oh, and by the way, we're just uploading it to our servers, but trust us on this one.
Yeah, it's
We'd
encrypted.
sure just like to have it. We'd sure just like to get you slowly accustomed to giving it to us and create this system where it's so convenient, where you can just pay with your hand. That can't go wrong ever.
To be fair,
it's-
they probably don't need your hand. They could do face recognition anyway, right?
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
they
but
already have
it's-
that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's boiling the frog, though. You know, I mean,
Right.
which
Yes.
admittedly is a bad excuse because the experiment didn't work that way. But it is a good example. You know, they're getting us used to it. My niece, for example, is 22. She has no problems at all in posting sharing all kinds of personal information. You try and say, look, this isn't the way it needs to be, but maybe I'm just an old fart, but I just think, the younger generation is getting seduced into this, and it's not a thing that you can roll back easily.
No.
And a number of
it's
people
not
are
great.
quite rightly in the chat room, pointing out that I'm a older white cis man. And so I have nothing to fear from the authorities who are also older white cis males.
Yeah,
and
right.
so-
First they came for the socialists, and then they came for the trade unionists, and then they came for the Jews.
Yeah.
Just don't bank on that because it's not going to save you.
Well, I'm
There's
pretty
an irony.
safe, but I would understand if you were a person of color or a woman or transgender, you might be very cautious about what you have released to the public. And that I think is probably the right thing, the right point of view to take, because it's a risky world for some people. So, but on the other hand, I'm safe, so I'm going to use it because there is benefit. There is benefit. Although, great article. I want to take a break, but I want to talk about this great article by Neil Seibert in Above Avalon, in which he says, those voice assistants, I said this 4 years ago, he says, when they came out, they're not going anywhere. And I was right. It's the Apple Watch that's the big winner. We'll get to that in just a second. We've got the fabulous Simone de Rochefort here from Rocket. She's a video producer at Polygon. And if you've ever listened to Rocket on Relay FM, you know what a great show that is with Brianna Wu and Christina Warren, two of my other favorite people. It's like my three favorite people on that show.
Aww.
So it's wonderful to have you on. Iain Thomson, he of the mustache. Enjoy it while you've got it because it's going. TheRegister.com. Yeah. No, but you look so Terry Thomas. I just love it. You could put a little,
ding dong.
put a little gap. Get a little electrician's tape. But just put a little gap in between your teeth right there. Perfect. And Alex Wilhelm from TechCrunch. Always nice to see you. I think now that you've described the shed that you're in, I feel that this is almost a lie, this shot of you. Like it's some book-lined library somewhere, but you're just really in a shed. Oh, that's a pretty nice shed.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
never
lovely in
mind. Oh, my
Yeah.
God. It's gorgeous.
Well, you can't. The laptop is impinged by the mics and all that, so I can't really give you a tour. But there's a day bed over there. And
Oh, my God.
bank
Is
of
this where
windows
you
and some
go when
art on that
Liza's had
wall.
enough of you and she says, just go to your shed?
I mean, no, but I'm in a pandemic and I'm married, and it's great to have more than one space to be in.
It is really nice.
Oh,
I agree.
I hear that.
Can I come live in your shed?
We're actually going to the garage right now into a home gym. So.
I'm here.
There you go. Simone could be your adopted daughter. She likes to read. Look at all those books. Have you read all those books, Alex?
No. So I've read basically from here over is my section, and then Liza's medical school books are over there.
Oh, yeah.
And
You don't need to read those.
So it's 90% of our books in one set of built-in. So they're not
really
all
beautiful.
mine.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Great to have
the first
the three
time
of you.
Well, the first time I did a photo with a bookshelf behind me, I had a younger reader just like, there's no way you've read all those books. It's like, yeah, that's what we did pre-internet. It's like we actually
had to buy paper. Actually, I just read this, the ebook loans to libraries. There's a couple of programs like Hoopla that allow you, if you have a library card, to take out an ebook up 52% this year. Like it's suddenly got, which is great. Isn't that good news? People are reading. And because they don't want to go to the library, they don't want to hold a physical book, they're taking advantage of it. There's great audiobooks too from your local library.
But libraries are great for that sort of thing. I've never understood why libraries are so dissed in the United States, because I mean they have ebooks, they have audiobooks. Hell, you can even go into them in pre-COVID days and get some great stuff. Libraries are an absolutely essential public resource. Use these things.
Yeah, I have to say, reading this article about this, Arian Marshall in Wired, I was a little disappointed. Apparently, if a library buys a physical book, I presume they pay the normal price and they can lend it out as long as that book doesn't fall into pieces, right? But with digital books, the publishers charge them a hefty fee. The average is $40, and then severely limit how many times they can lend it. Sometimes it's only 26 times or 52 times. Sometimes it says for 2 years. So it's not as economical for a library to buy these ebooks.
It's even worse with audiobooks because, I mean, certainly San Francisco Public Library doesn't allow you to renew audiobooks. And my wife uses them a lot on her commute into work. And, one audiobook she's got is 42 hours long, and she has to return it within 3 weeks.
2 weeks? Yeah.
Yeah.
What book is that? 42 hours. My God.
Lots of books.
What?
Lots of books.
Thomas Piketty, but yes, it's.
Oh yes, Capitalism. I have all the Piketty books. I think they're fascinating.
He's a really good writer.
Yeah, it's good because when you have 42 hours on capitalism, capital and ideology, it better be well
30
written.
Years on capitalism, baby. That's nothing.
Better be well written. Let's see, what else do I have? A lot of really long books. Gravity's Rainbow, Infinite Jest, The Infinite Book.
Gravity's Rainbow.
Are you a 19-year-old student? Are you in university right now, Leo?
Wait, you have the ebook of Infinite
No,
Jest?
audiobook.
Audiobook. Yeah,
I actually have the ebook too because I like to read while I listen. Piketty's Capital and Ideology is 49 hours.
Oh, God.
Ow!
I've tried Gravity's Rainbow 5 times now.
I love that
book. I still can't get my head around it.
Oh, it's one of my favorite books. Oh,
it's one of those things where you read it and you think, I must be missing something. I've got to be missing. No, I am missing something. It's
so it's like The Wire then.
Yeah, it's like The Wire.
I guess so.
I was listening to this podcast called The Spouter Inn, which is a literature podcast, and they actually recommend, if you're really, really struggling with a book, just read it backwards, open it up to a random page and read from there, and just completely throw chronology out. No, not like that.
Oh, okay. That's the Klingon version.
That's a really interesting idea.
Like just read a random chapter? Yeah. Seems like it would destroy the structure of the book.
Yes, but if what you want is to help yourself get into the book, you can't necessarily, don't hold yourself to the pressure of slogging through the first 5 chapters. Make it a project that's different. Go through the middle, see if the middle's interesting. Try the end, see if the end is interesting. And then when you get to a point where you can read it, go back and read it from the start.
That kind of makes sense if you're if it's nonfiction. But fiction, that really can spoil it.
I mean, but what is being spoiled if you're so bored you can't get through the beginning of a book?
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I'm trying it with Nightwood by Juna Barnes right now, and it's actually not helping in this case because it's a difficult book for me. but I'm reading it backwards.
Just don't read Game of Thrones from the end to the beginning, or you'll be very puzzled.
Ruin it.
It would get better as it went, because the first book in the Song of Ice and Fire is the best of the whole group.
Yeah.
So
You see, I tried to read Game of Thrones, and I was kind of. It was the same with Tolkien, with Lord of the Rings. Same
Careful
with
now.
Dune.
Oh,
It was
hush
just
your
like,
mouth.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
this is
sorry.
wrong.
It was just like, get on with the story. Yeah.
Listen,
I cannot
sort of
deal with
with you
those
on
books.
I think
I'm
that
sorry?
genuinely is one. Like when I started Game of Thrones, I was very overwhelmed by all the names and roles and everything. But once you get the Stockholm syndrome that makes you addicted to it, it's a delight. I love those books now.
I should point out that the Nobel Committee agrees with you, Iain Thomson. J.R.R. Tolkien was rejected for a Nobel Prize because of poor storytelling and bad writing.
Well, I'm sorry.
Leo.
Okay, The Hobbit works because it's a children's book, but Lord of the Rings, don't get me wrong. My sister loved the whole series. She learned Elvish. She read the Silmarillion, the whole thing. But I tried to read Lord of the Rings. I've tried again and again and again, and it's just like, get on with it. And I kind of think that Peter Jackson got the film just right with the endless endings. I assume that was a homage to the fact that J.R.R. Tolkien just really couldn't write good hard post-fiction.
I will not listen to commentary from
Shocking.
a man who thinks that Civilization ended with Civ 2, because it shows you have no taste or class, and therefore all of this is bilge and garbage and detritus that I shall leave behind me as I go back and reread Return of the King for the 88th time, because it's fantastic. Iain, our friendship is over.
I will hunt you
We're all
down
getting
and kill
along
you for
so
that.
well.
Well, I just want to say I'm hearing in my ear a lot of our listeners saying get on with it. So I am going to move on. But I have to say this has been the most discursive, rat hole filled show we have ever done, and I'm loving it. So
I've got to say, the IRC chat room really has blown up over this one.
yeah,
This
you start dissing
I have some
Civ.
apologizing apparently to do, but
Oh, it's not
my
that. It's the
God.
Civ 2 thing that's really pissing them off. I've tried to play Civ so many times and I just can't do it. But I've never tried Civilization 2. So maybe I just didn't go far enough back. So I will give it a try.
Civ 1 was basic. Civ 2 was... It pretty much covers a thing. After Civ 3 was terrible. Civ 4 bit better. Civ 5 I've heard better. But it was just the pure empire building game. If you're looking to spend 10 hours on a computer game building up a world civilization heading out to Alpha Centauri, it was a great game. But I'm sure someone is better on me than this, but it was the same problem when they rebooted Elite. Where you've got to spend such a long time learning to play the game. And I would say also stream, stop telling people how long you spent playing this game, because when I look at that, it's just like, I spent way too long playing this. I need to get out and have a life.
I'm an Age of Empires guy.
There we go.
AO2 is really
yeah.
I like real time as opposed to turn based for some reason. There's just something about turn based. It's too much like chess.
There are some savage AO2 players online as well, though, because I got my backside handed to me like a redheaded stepchild by some of those people.
Oh, I bet.
They will just go out and beat you into the ground and laugh at you while they do it.
I watched some Age of Empires 2 esports, and I was blown away with the quality of play. I thought I was pretty good back in the day with my Choco News and so forth. But oh my gosh, the amazing, amazing stuff. And Leo, I know we need to go to an ad, but whenever Age of Empires 2 comes up, my nerd spines just start to tingle. I get really excited.
Aren't they re-releasing that, or have they already
They
done
are
it? Because
doing AOE 4, ladies and gentlemen.
AOE 4?
But they're re-releasing Age of Empires 2.
Oh,
They did a definitive edition. They did an HD edition of that. You can get that right now. But apparently, Relic is working on an entirely new AOE version 4.
my gosh.
I'm thinking I might be an Xbox exclusive. I don't know, but
it came out last
I
year.
may
I'm
need
an
to take
idiot.
some days off on holiday for that, because
Oh,
that
yeah. Look at
that
this.
looks very
this
interesting.
looks so
Are you
good.
doing Crusader Kings 3 though, Ian?
No, I haven't
Or
tried
2?
it. Is it
Oh my god,
good?
I'm an idiot.
Is Crusader Kings good? Because I've heard mixed reviews.
I've heard only incredible things. Like I've heard it's somewhat like playing a spreadsheet, but that the storytelling that they can accomplish with the AI is so much beyond the first game. And I need to get into it. Also, why am I out of focus now? What happened?
Yeah, I was about to tell you that quietly, so you can fix it.
Look at me.
I'll tell you what.
Please look at me, camera.
Let me tell the world about ZipRecruiter while you fix your focus. Or not. Oh, that's good. All you have to do is get closer. That's all. Terrifying. Terrifying.
Oh, Lord.
Our show,
I'm going to get a fan.
Our show today brought to you by ZipRecruiter. If you're hiring, God bless you. We need more people offering more jobs, and there is no better way to do it. Look, this is a good time to be hiring. The best people are looking for work, and you can spread the word that you're hiring better with ZipRecruiter than anywhere else. Post immediately to 100-plus job boards with one posting to ZipRecruiter. And one of the amazing things that happens, it happened to us, we use ZipRecruiter all the time, is you will start getting candidates almost immediately, because what they do is they look at your listing, they scan through the resumes they've got on file, and then they invite people with the right qualifications to apply to your job. Let me tell you, that really works. ZipRecruiter is so effective. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Last time we were looking for a bookkeeper, we posted on ZipRecruiter at breakfast. Lisa was worried because she thought she was going to have to do the bookkeeping, and she just was dreading it. Plus, hiring is hard, right? You got to look at a lot of resumes. She posted it at breakfast. By lunchtime. In fact, within an hour, she goes, "Oh, here's a good candidate. Oh my God, here's another one." We had 3 or 4 really qualified candidates by lunchtime. That is an amazing thing. We're not alone. ZipRecruiter talks about Monica Starks. Maybe you saw this in the ad. She was hiring for a key role at her construction company, GS Group. There were so many candidates out there, but she couldn't find the right person, so she switched. And I think if you're using some other service, switching to ZipRecruiter is a really good idea because they make hiring so easy. Monica found a guy, Lamont Jenkins, almost immediately. She said ZipRecruiter sent Lamont's profile to her 5 minutes after she posted her job because he was such a perfect match for the role. And she agreed, hired him, and it's working out great. ZipRecruiter makes the entire process efficient and effective. You don't get calls to your phone. You don't get emails. It all goes into ZipRecruiter's interface. They reformat the resumes so you can scan them quickly. You can write screening questions, multiple choice or true, false, even essay questions to filter out candidates that just don't fit. And then ZipRecruiter ranks them, rates them, and you can hire the right person fast. There's nothing better. See for yourself. You could try ZipRecruiter for free right now if you go to ZipRecruiter.com/twit. That's ZipRecruiter.com/twit. ZipRecruiter is the smartest way to hire. You can take it from me. We've been doing it for years. That's ZipRecruiter.com/TWIT. ZipRecruiter. Oh, now I lost track of all the things we were going to talk about. All right. Did anybody watch the Google announcement on Wednesday? Anybody?
I did, and I have to say I was distinctly less than impressed.
You know, they kind of telegraphed it by calling it Launch Night In, even though it was 11 in the morning. Rick Osterloh, the vice president of hardware, is like in his socks on a sofa, practically slumping down.
Did he show his feet on stream?
I can't remember why.
Curious.
He might have. They were really pushing wear your socks.
What? I mean, better than not wearing socks.
It was the strangest. It was the most low energy event I've ever seen. You know, usually when a company's doing these events, this is a big deal. They put on the pizzazz. They try to sell you on the product. The Pixel 5 was like, yeah, we got this phone.
Are they done doing hardware? Is that
they're done doing Google?
Doing
I feel like they got Google I/O, which is supposed to be in May. COVID hits. They go, yeah, we're not going to do it. Everybody else did a virtual developers event. Google just said, yeah, no. They didn't say we'll do it later.
Company?
They didn't say we just don't have the energy.
When I first saw the tech specs of the new phones, I was kind of like, oh, they're going back to the Nexus idea where you do cheap, clean hardware, which gets proper updates and gets you an unskinned version of Android. But the choices they made were bizarre. You downgrade the central processor. You keep the camera as it is. Yeah, you add some cute software functions, but it was kind of like, what was the point? Are you just doing this for the sake of it?
It really feels like, I'm going to make a guess, this was the last phone in the pipeline. And it's like, they're so done with the whole thing. They're just going to push it out and they'll never do another phone again. It just feels like that. They also really muddied the waters. So for instance, they announced the 4A to a very good reception. I think that's an excellent phone. That was the successor of the Pixel 4 a couple of months ago. Everybody loves it. But then this week they announced the 4A 5G, which is not even related to the 4A. It really looks like a 5A because it has 5A features, not 4A features. The 5A, they didn't even, normally they do a 5 and a 5XL. They didn't do a XL. They did one model. It's mid-range-y. It's still $700, but it's kind of a mid-range in every other respect. It's got a big battery, but only 128 gig storage. There's no other SKUs. 8 gigs of RAM. One thing that I think is good, it's a metal back. Hallelujah. I'm so, these glass backs are so fragile. And it still does wireless charging, which I had thought, you can't do it with metal. That's why everybody makes these glass back phones. So that's encouraging. The camera is probably it's identical to the old one, pretty much.
It's got better software, but it's still the same hardware. But I mean, I'm a 3A user. I've been using Google phones since the original Nexus. There is nothing in there which would make you want to upgrade. Yeah, the hold feature, but that's a software feature. That will come to the rest of the phones sooner or later.
Yeah, that was the only big
upgrading?
thing was that, and I bet it doesn't work all that well, but if a company puts you on hold on their service line, you tell the phone, just tell me when somebody gets on, and it'll get, I bet you, I mean...
That's the lamest feature. That was
the total selling point. That was the whole
thing. A lot of phone calls. Big part of my job is phone calls, and I don't want that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Simone.
Mark Lavoie, the guy with charge of photography, had left. He'd gone to Adobe. I just feel like they've kind of lost their mojo. Go ahead, Simone.
Do you think there's anything about these phones, obviously there's no new features for existing Pixel users, but do you think there's anything that would make Apple or Samsung users hop the fence?
No. I guess that's my point. They weren't able to say, here's a phone you're going to want in any respect. It's 5G, but who cares?
Here's a phone,
Every
period.
phone's 5G. It's a phone. It was kind of like that. They spent very little time on it. Here's
and there's
a phone.
only 2 colors for the 5, right?
Yeah.
They're just black and green.
I'd say one of the key things that keeps me buying these phones is that you get your security updates first. I wouldn't be comfortable buying a Samsung Android phone because you're reliant on Samsung to get the security fixes out there. So I'll carry on buying from Google directly from that. But this was just, even the Chromecast unit was painfully bad. And I don't know what it is about Google, but they love beige for some reason. That's not a good look.
It's pastel. They do have a mint green one and a pink one. They put them on a plate of French macaron cookies, which it does look like, and then they said it's like a bowl of candy. So it was very confusing. I bought one that day, and I got it the next day, by the way, and it's great. It's fine. It's another Chromecast. Remember when they first released Google TV, it was called Google TV. It came with a keyboard. Remember that? And
I hated that thing.
It had problems. And then they had so many problems. They said, okay, well, it's Android TV. They're all new, different. And it's been Android TV. Now they're back to Google TV. It's, you know what? It's only $49. And in fact, if you subscribe to YouTube TV, I think for 6 months it's free. So they're basically giving it away. It has a remote, which the Chromecast hasn't had ever.
Leo.
Yes.
I feel like Google is a company that had some really great ideas and has been since making all of them worse. Is that a fair thing? Like search used to be amazingly good, and then they put all the ads on top now and disguise them as results and added the other crap and cruft so you can't find your results. And they made phones for a while and that was cool, and Android was cool for a while and now it's just super insecure and shit. And I feel like everything they've done has just gotten worse. Is that
because
fair?
They lose interest? It really is apparent they've lost interest. To me, maybe, I mean, I might just be projecting because I've lost interest.
What are you seeing them being interested in, if not the phones? Like, what do you think their new area of focus is?
That's
the
a great
YouTube
question.
algorithm.
That is the $20 billion question because, yeah, I mean, they were really, honestly, the Nexus series was a really good series of phones.
It was. I loved them.
Search used to be great. My father-in-law bought a smartphone because he saw me doing voice search on Android and saying, where is the nearest pub in Buxton? And he was just like, this is amazing. I need to get this. But there is nothing like that anymore. I mean, Google seems to have given up on the plot, and I don't understand why.
They released a bigger speaker.
Woohoo! Great. Hold the front page.
I mean, it's not even attractive. It's
you know
ugly.
how we
Good
feel
job.
about
It's kind of
smart
a
speakers,
lozenge.
Leo. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys aren't going to buy it, are you? Does it help?
I mean,
does it help that a stoned Mark Ronson was pitching it?
That doesn't hurt, I think. Maybe. I mean,
What do you? Now,
Maybe I'm
I don't want to be judgy, except I obviously am.
Oh, I do.
Did you? So you watched, Ian? Did you notice Mark Ronson? Did he seem a little? I don't know. High?
I wouldn't like to comment on someone's mental state.
He might just be
particularly
like
under
that.
Under the current circumstances, no one's operating 100%.
Okay, fair.
And
fair.
particularly when it comes to public things. But it was just snooze-worthy.
Yeah.
I mean, it reminded me of the old Onion article after Steve Jobs died and Tim Cook did his first keynote. And it was like, Tim Cook comes on, says, here's a phone. It does some great things. Great. Okay, next. And, it was a very feeling like that. And there was no enthusiasm. There was no hardware to really get you enthusiastic. The software, it was cute, but, there's nothing world-changing there. So I saw no reason to get excited.
Well, Ian, do you think that the event would have been this underwhelming in a normal year? Or is it exacerbated by the pandemic, basically?
It must be the
Well, you
pandemic.
see, I was at the Pixel 1 and 2 launches, then we pissed off Google and they stopped inviting us. But, with the original, there was actually a feeling of excitement. Then they went on to Apple's modus operandi and had people in the back cheerleading. So whenever somebody said something, there was always some people going, woohoo, yeah, yay, having multiple orgasms throughout. But I mean, honestly, they were good events because they allowed you to get hands-on with a kit. And one thing Google does, which I respect, which Apple doesn't do, Apple farms these out to useful idiots who will always say what they want to say. Google actually put it out there and let you get your hands on it.
And that's how you piss them off.
Well, yeah, but I mean, at the same time, they were honest about it. So I kind of respect it, but at the same time, this was just really underwhelming. I couldn't work out why they made such a big deal about it because they were putting out flawed hardware, a few cute software tips, but it just really wasn't that enthusing. There was nothing there to get you fired up.
It was very googly in the sense that, for instance, even though they're going to call this Chromecast Google TV, Android TV still exists. You may remember that when they released Stadia, if you bought the early adopter kit, it came with the Chromecast Ultra, so you could play their gaming service on your big screen TV with a Chromecast. Except this new Chromecast doesn't work with Stadia. It's like
that was absolutely
so
bizarre.
stupid.
Stadia is, this is where they can make some really big bucks in the future. They released hardware which doesn't support it. I mean, I'm curious. I mean, what everyone else thinks, because that seemed suicide.
it's just strange.
It's nonsensical. I have no good answer for that. But if they're really trying to make Stadia a thing, which it already is kind of not, like they're struggling to make that a thing, and not releasing it or not having Chromecast be compatible with it is just nonsensical. I don't understand it.
I can only speculate, but one of the things that's always been said about Google is because they want to keep their startup energy, they have every division is somewhat autonomous. And so maybe it's that the new Chromecast division wasn't talking to the Stadia division, or they just didn't pay attention to anything else the company's doing. But I have to say, and I love Google, and I am not unlike you guys, I'm not an anti-Google person. I really...
Whoa.
Wait a minute.
Pause. I'll give Google a shout out right now. Google recently brought back Google Finance to some degree, and I want to give them points for that. I use Chrome every single day. I live inside of a Google search environment. I'm on G Suite. I critique because I use. I use their stuff day in, day out.
I'd be willing to bet you're not going to rely on Google Finance because who knows how long it'll be around.
Well, Yahoo Finance is part of the broader Verizon Media Group umbrella of brands, Leo. So I
you have to use Yahoo.
I use whatever I want.
I just want to say to you, and I hope you'll relay this along to the people in charge, I have used Yahoo Finance for 20 years now.
Oh, wow.
And?
Nothing.
That's it?
Hey.
So, Leo, the people in power don't know that I exist.
Leo. You are real and you exist.
I am real and I exist and I use Yahoo Finance. But Google's starting to live up to its reputation as a company that has no attention span, that just kind of random walks its way into the future, that cancels things willy-nilly. If you're interested in investing your time and energy into a Google product, you always have to say, well, I wonder if it's worth it because will it be around next year? This is a problem, I think, for Google.
Microsoft and Mixer, same thing. I can't believe they built Mixer up, got Ninja to join the platform, spent all the money, and then 6 weeks later gave up on it. How does a company do that? It's so embarrassing.
And didn't tell Ninja beforehand. That was ridiculous.
He did all right.
Didn't he find it for
Wait a minute.
I mean, yeah, he's fine.
How much money do they pay Ninja? Like $20 million? And then, so he leaves Twitch, he goes to Mixer, stays for a few months, Mixer goes under, he keeps the money, goes back to Twitch. Oh, and by the way, apparently it's leaked that Twitch gave him a big bonus to come back. So the guy did nothing.
If only I had more hair, then I could become a YouTuber.
I don't feel bad for Ninja at any point in the game.
I just think it's rude and an oversight to not tell the theoretical star of your platform, oh, by the way, we're shutting that
well, it is
down.
weird.
I don't know. Can I swear on this?
Simone de Rochefort.
Oh, no.
You're allowed to say merde, however.
We're shutting that mare down. Thank you.
No.
Sorry. Apologies.
Seriously, Simone, one thing I've learned from Twit is swear in your own language. So, I can say wanker on here.
Yeah, you can. You can say wanker all you want. They can't say it in the chat room, apparently. Unless something happens.
Putain. Putain, or the rest of it.
Oh, putain. No, let's not say that. We do have French listeners, and I don't want them to have to wash my ears out with soap. They're so hairy. It will be hard.
You need shampoo in there and conditioner.
Yeah, conditioner for sure.
2 in 1.
I don't want to be too hard. I mean, actually, I like the Chromecast. It's $49. It's a credible streaming device at a price much lower than even anything except the lowest cost Fire TV stick or.
Isn't the Roku?
Yeah, they have a $50 Roku. Yeah, but it doesn't do 4K HDR.
Okay, that's fair. And now it doesn't do HBO Max or HBO Go. So
yeah, actually, this was one thing I was very pleased because I have a Shield, NVIDIA Shield, which is I think a great Android TV device, and I couldn't get HBO to work on it because I think just like Roku, they hadn't made a deal. Maybe Google loosened the things up with this new Chromecast because it does support HBO Max, and then I went over my Shield and it's supporting it now. So that's good news. Yeah, they must have made a deal. Anyway. Yeah, somebody in the chat room saying you could say "sacre bleu" if you wish.
That's not really a good substitute for the S word, though.
Holy blue. What? What? By the way, Sonos is suing Google. They started this process in January. They're suing them for infringing another 5 more patents because they say, hey, we invented this party mode, this multi-speaker audio, and you're copying us, I guess. I'd be interested to watch that. That was the thing that made Sonos, right? They were the only ones who could do this, and now everybody can do it. And if that's a question of leveraging Sonos's patents without paying them, then I don't blame Sonos because it's frankly nobody's going to ever buy another Sonos speaker again. Why would you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because they don't come with Google Home built in, so they're not going to spy on me.
Actually, they do.
That's actually a reason. It does?
But you have to turn it on. Yeah, you if you get a Sonos One, you can have Echo or Google on it. But you don't have to, and you can turn it off. So, yeah.
That's a feature right there that I'd pay for. I mean, my wife wants to get Sonos for that reason because it doesn't have the evil little robots inside listening to you.
Yeah, no, I've got the same problem. I want to buy a home security system, but I'm not going to go with Ring because I don't like their corporate policies. So where do I go?
Good man.
I end up trading my Ring in for Google for a Nest Hello doorbell.
Frying pan, fire.
Yeah, I don't know anything.
There are no good choices. I think that's kind of the underlying message of this episode of Twit.
Yeah. Well, now I replaced my all my home networking. I took everything out and put enterprise grade Ubiquiti in there, and they support cameras. So, and it would record locally instead. You know, I could put a little hard drive in the router and it would record locally instead of sending it to the cloud. So maybe I'll do that. I don't know. It seems like a lot of trouble. They even have a doorbell and and all that stuff. Our show today brought to you by Mint Mobile. Where's my iPhone SE? I am such a fan of Mint Mobile. And perhaps you've seen Ryan Reynolds talking up the Mint Mobile. It's pretty cool when you got Deadpool doing your ads. That's all I can say. Mint Mobile is the MVNO. These are, MVNOs like Mint Mobile, they resell the expensive cell carriers plans for a lot less. They're reselling T-Mobile. So if T-Mobile works well in your neck of the woods, Mint Mobile will work exactly the same. But a lot less, yes. I mean, I cut my T-Mobile bill by 2/3 by going to Mint Mobile. They just introduced their unlimited data plan. So this is unlimited nationwide talk and text, high-speed data on the nation's largest 5G network, unlimited, $30 a month. $30 a month, the whole thing. Add an iPhone, that's another $15. For $45, for half what I'm paying T-Mobile, I get a phone and unlimited. It's amazing. Now, I actually went for the 12 gigabyte a month plan. That's $25 a month. But next, when that, I bought a year ahead of time. When that runs out, I'm going unlimited. That's just awesome. What's awful is the price I pay Verizon, because my wife and family on Verizon, AT&T, because my second family's on AT&T, and T-Mobile, because I'm on T-Mobile. And my mom's on Sprint. So pretty much I pay so much through the nose to all these guys. I'm moving them all to Mint Mobile. Consider yourself warmed. $30 a month. Mint Mobile doesn't have the stores. So by going online only, eliminating the traditional cost of retail, they can save a lot. You can bring your own phone. They will send the SIM to your door. They don't charge you for the SIM. Keep your same phone number, all your contacts, or buy a phone from them. And you'll see the iPhone SE is a great price. And I think it's a great phone, too. I think it's a great choice. If you're looking for a plan for family members, Mint Mobile's awesome. And if you're not 100% satisfied, of course, Mint Mobile has you covered with their 7-day money-back guarantee. Time to break up with Big Wireless. Those guys, they don't love you back. Mint Mobile, the little green fox, he loves you. Switch to Mint Mobile's premium unlimited data plan for $30 a month. And they'll send you the plan for free, or you can get a phone from them. Go to mintmobile.com/twit. This is the best deal in mobile. It's amazing. mintmobile.com/twit. Cut your unlimited wireless bill to $30 a month. I don't know why you'd go with anybody else. mintmobile.com/twit. And it's minty fresh and tasty. Tasty. So what do you make of Facebook's announced plan? I have a feeling. This is my thinking is we got an election November 3rd. There'll be a transition period January 20th. There's a chance, at this point, a pretty good chance, we'll have a new administration. Maybe administration that won't be as easy on antitrust regulations and FCC that might not be as amenable. And maybe even a Congress that's a little less worried about things. And I feel like you're going to see companies go, if we're going to do this, it's now or never. So Facebook, which has been under a modicum of inspection by Congress, but mostly by Democrats, they seem to, the Republicans in the president seem pretty happy with Facebook. They've decided to make one account for everything. Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook. They're going to basically merge or interoperate the apps. There'll be a single login. I feel like this is the kind of thing that might have raised some scrutiny in the past. I feel like they're doing it now. And now, Alex, you follow finance. They're doing it now because they figure it's now or never. Does that seem sensible?
I think it's defensive because if the accounts were all separated, your Instagram account was different than your WhatsApp account, which is different than your Facebook account, Congress could say, look, just cleave here.
Diverse.
You can keep two pieces.
Divest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But now Facebook can say, guys, gosh, we'd love to. We'd absolutely, what a great idea. You had two bad notes, all one account. You can't just cut off one piece. It's like cutting off your arm. It's part of your body.
Good point.
So now they're going to be better armored against a questing Democratic administration and maybe a Democratic Senate. And it's a smart move by Facebook if you believe in their model and Zuckerberg's leadership. If you're critical of those things, it's not particularly good news.
Remember that it was about a year ago, Zuck posted that blog post where he said, we're going to make Facebook private. We're going to encrypt all the messages. This would also be a step forward in that direction, right? And it may be for that reason a good thing. Yes?
I think, generally speaking, I'm in favor of any company's move to more encrypted communications and a more private system. I think the issues that we've seen with Facebook's move in that direction is that now it's pretty hard to moderate private groups. That's where we see a lot of coronavirus misinformation, voting misinformation, and so forth. And so, there's always a minus to every plus. But, I mean, in general, Leo, I'm in favor of those things, and I think it's the right way for them to go. But, of course, they're balancing that with an advertising platform that is dependent on knowing lots about you both on and off site. So Facebook is never going to be really private. They're going to do a patina of privacy on top of an ad machine.
And you can't forget it. If you use any one of their apps now, you're in the ecosystem. And so it doesn't really matter, right? One account means when you see a Facebook like button on a web page, even if you don't use Facebook, you only use Instagram, you're in it, baby. Go ahead, Simone.
And what they're talking about, like being able to cross-post from Instagram to Facebook to WhatsApp simultaneously, that seems to me like a way that misinformation could spread even faster, theoretically. But I guess it means they'll get me back on Messenger. So,
are you on Facebook?
I am on Facebook. I deleted the Messenger app, but I'm also on WhatsApp and Instagram. So I don't know what I'm doing.
Don't delete anything. You're crazy. Doesn't matter. Use it all.
Get it back.
If I'm not on Facebook, I'm not on any of them. But if I installed Messenger, it would open the floodgates. Everything would come back.
It'd be over for you.
It'd be over. Yeah.
The thing is, Facebook Messenger has the best stickers. Signal does not have good stickers. WhatsApp has some of the Facebook Messenger stickers, but not all of them. Messenger is where the good stickers are.
And good filters and good, all that stuff is good on Messenger, isn't it?
Yeah. But they are evil, so.
You could be a little bunny rabbit.
Sorry, but when you look on your phone, if you download the Facebook app and the Messenger app, that's a gig of data that you've just stuck onto your phone. And I don't trust it. I don't have an Instagram account. I don't use WhatsApp. I don't, it's just, why the hell give them that information? Yeah. I will quite happily use Facebook on the browser. Yeah, I can't answer messages within an hour or so. I have to wait till I get home and get my desktop machine opened. But why the hell give them the data? They've shown themselves to be absolutely unreliable with dealing with it. So just deny it to them.
Yes.
Do as I say, not as I do. I am on Instagram, but don't be on it. Don't be like me.
And people are saying in the chat room, well, Leo, you just said you gave everything to Google, so you might as well give it to Facebook. No, I think Zuckerberg's Satan.
Well, you're making the exact argument that the opposite of what you were saying earlier.
Well, I'm going to give my data to a nice guy like Sundar Pichai, but doesn't mean I should give it to Satan.
Well,
I mean, Simone, to be clear, you're boycotting Amazon, but you're supporting Facebook. I think we all end up failing the ethical consumer test. I think to your earlier point, we're all
Leo is being hypocritical.
But,
No.
And I was just about to say I felt so bad for you fanning yourself that you could turn on your fan.
No, don't let me do that.
No, you're starting to glow. You need to turn on your fan. You poor woman. You're dying.
I have to say, your fan is fantastic. But, I mean, honestly, when it comes to this stuff, if you look at, there's a very good Twitter feed which looks at the top 10 articles shared on Facebook, and it's horrifying.
Oh,
I mean, it's
scary.
I
agree.
Eight, pretty much 7 or 8 out of 10 of the top Facebook articles for the day are Ben Shapiro, Open News Network, Fox News, the rest of
Shapiro's
it.
huge on Facebook. That guy is really Satan. I don't think Zuckerberg's Satan. I think he's just he's chaotic neutral. But
no, I think with Shapiro, it's got to have been tough growing up as the smartest kid in your high school and being that short, and he's got a massive chip on his shoulder, and I get it. He plays the giddy goat argument. He will throw out 10 statements, 8 of which are wrong, 2 of which are right, and if you try and take him up on that, then it's a very common debating technique. But I find him terribly hard work, and it's.
You've
Facebook
actually given him more time than I would ever give him. I'm impressed.
Facebook is turning into Fox News.
Yeah.
It's the kind of thing that your parents get into. And I love my in-laws dearly, but if they do one more survey that gives them my personal information on Facebook about which Star Trek captain are you, or what kind of cat are you, it drives you nuts.
Here's from the Facebook Top 10 Twitter account for October 2nd, the top performing link posts. When they say top performing, they mean got the most engagement, the most retweeting kind of thing. This is in the last 24 hours. Fox News, the Duck Commander.
Wow.
You know who he is,
still
right?
Going?
I can't believe he's around.
The guy with the big beard?
Yeah. WAFB Channel 9, Robert Reich. So that's left. That's leftist. My Modern Met, Robert Reich again. I don't know how he got on there twice. Fox News again. I don't know how he got twice. Dan Bongino, Mark Levin, and Tasty. That seems pretty ecumenical.
I think Robert Reich getting too in there about coronavirus does not undercut the fact that usually that list is like 2 Ben Shapiro links, a Reverend Franklin Graham link, 3 Fox News links, something from OANN. It's usually built. And I think the point here is that Facebook is garbage, but you can't now just avoid it because if you have an Instagram account, if you have a WhatsApp account, you're now part of the broader empire. And so back in the day, I think it would have been much more easy to kind of like opt into a little bit of Zuck, just a little bit, a soupçon of Zuck, if you will, or whatever you pronounce that word.
A soupçon of Zuck. Yes.
Yeah. I want the Zuck emoji.
Sounds like something sweaty.
The moment I said it, I'm like, that was a mistake. I should not have said that.
No, it was the best thing I've heard all day, and it should be an episode title of something.
It is. We just made it that. I'm editing this. I'm taking weirdos and wankers out, and it's now a soupçon of Zuck. But I'm going to have to teach the editors how to do a cedilla on the C there. I don't know how we're going to do that, but we'll figure it out.
And you just sort of want the secret spreadsheet that we all use to plan the show. So right. Sorry.
Yeah, I did. I showed it. We have no secrets here.
Our communist masters will punish you for this.
It is on Google Sheets. Oh, hey, Boris, do we have access to Google Sheets? Oh, yes, of course, Natasha. We can get in there anytime. So what? So what?
I'm trying to remember the name of the Bond villain where they had they had a really bad Bond girl.
Lottie Lenya with a knife in her shoe. That was from Russia with Love. Oh, she was great. Oh man, I still have dreams about Lottie Lenya with a knife in her shoe. They're kind of
dangerous
sexy.
Ground. All of a sudden, we're
okay. Moving onward. Anyway.
That's where he's going with this. I see. Okay.
Hey, TikTok. So last week, we were sitting here during the show. I tried to make the show as long as possible because we were waiting for the judge to rule on whether he was going to save TikTok or not. The minute I end the show, he rules. And he says, you can't block TikTok. What are you, nuts? Well, he didn't say it exactly like that, but TikTok got a reprieve. Now I think the president has other fish to fry. I bet you it's over.
But aren't they actually getting banned on November 12th anyway, regardless of...
No, the judge,
the
judge said no. Nope.
I thought it was the ban from that weekend that had been stayed, but they were still being made dysfunctional on the 12th. I might be wrong. I don't know.
the problem.
It is a temporary ban in the sense that there has to be a trial, I think. Oh, no, you're right. You nailed it. The app is still scheduled to become non-functional, but this must be through some sort of other hijinks.
This whole thing is a marriage show, if you will.
It is a marriage show. It's a soupçon of merde. Judge Nichols apparently did not, quote, at this time, block additional restrictions by the Department of Commerce that would be set to take effect at November 12th. I presume those are the easiest thing for the government to do is just say you can't have any financial transactions with Americans, which would immediately shut them down because they can't pay for their AWS, they can't pay for anything.
Surely you mean their Oracle cloud bill.
Have they moved over to Oracle yet? I don't know.
It's part of the deal. So the issue with the TikTok story, as far as I can tell, if you read through the TikTok of the TikTok story, it's that there's so many little twists and turns in what's going to happen. But as far as we can tell, and I'll take a shot at summarizing this, Oracle's going to buy a chunk of a kind of globalized entity that will hold TikTok. TikTok's code will become available for Oracle to look through. Oracle will host TikTok, stealing a Google customer away because Trump likes Oracle because he's also evil, and he doesn't like Google, so it's relatively neutral. And nothing will change effectively, other than a Trump sycophant, Larry Ellison, will get some free money. It's really just a disappointing end to a theoretically interesting moment in kind of global politics in the tech world, but instead it's going to be a Trump crony payoff.
Who's going to be really disappointed? Stevie Nicks. So Fleetwood Mac, 1977. This is the year I would have graduated from college had I not been sidelined by radio. Fleetwood Mac released Rumors, one of the best-selling albums of all times, featuring a song by Stevie Nicks called Dreams. Remember that? I can't play it because YouTube will take us down. But Dogface 420 Dogface 208 on TikTok apparently has no such scruples. Here's the guy. Now, don't play my sound because I don't want to be taken down. He is longboarding down the highway with a big bottle of cranberry juice. That looks good. And lip syncing to Fleetwood Mac's Dreams. This is, by the way, does he have a feather tattoo on the side of his head? Okay.
This guy's the only guy who's doing 2020 right.
So, Dogface 208, somehow, unaccountably, I don't know why, because that wasn't the most exciting TikTok I've ever seen. What is that on this? What tattoo is that on his head? Yeah, it's feathers. Okay.
Leo, can I help a little bit with this?
That's cool.
So, it became a hit. Yes, please.
So he's done other stuff. So one of the things that I've learned about TikToks that my friends send me because they're cool and I'm not, is that you'll often be sent a TikTok from someone about which people already know. So there's kind of an in-joke or a meta theme to it. And so this guy, if I'm having my TikTokers correct, has a library of stuff that he's done. So we're seeing.
So he has millions of followers. Millions of followers, probably. But for whatever reason, all of a sudden, Dreams, this 43-year-old song by Fleetwood Mac is soaring to the top of the charts. Number 39. It's in the top 40 on Rolling Stone's charts of streaming songs. Suddenly, people everywhere are downloading it. I'm just imagining myself, a bunch of 12-year-olds who never heard this song in their life going, oh, I like the bass line. and playing it on Spotify. This is the power of TikTok.
I mean, okay, fair enough. First off, Fleetwood Mac did some damn good tunes. And suddenly you never
it's a great song. If you'd never heard it, I don't blame you. You should listen to it.
You never want to be in a car with me when Chain is playing because it's foot to the floor, round the corner. This is the ultimate Formula One track. And my wife would nearly kill me if she's in the car. And I was driving on that. But it's fascinating how this has worked out because it seemed as though TikTok was being banned for completely arbitrary reasons. And then you're like, well, Zuckerberg's close to Trump. Maybe he wants to get rid of the competition because basically, they bought Instagram, they bought WhatsApp. They're taking the Cisco route of buying the competition or subverting them in some ways. TikTok isn't taking any more data than Facebook is. But the difference is it's our data rather than Chinese data, and the Oracle deal doesn't seem to do anything. It's
of course not.
Oracle is hosting it.
And I'm telling you, The president has completely lost interest. He's completely forgotten about it. The Commerce Department isn't going to do it. It's over. It's over. Meanwhile, Nathan Apodaca, a.k.a. 420 Dogface 208, I can't play the music, but I'm going to do my best Stevie Nicks as he sings.
Well, they're still going to take you down, man.
Well, here you go again. You got my friend. That's not good.
The thing that's bizarre to me about this is that this whole saga has gone so off the rails that at this point, I think a Trump crony getting a bunch of money is the best case scenario for me, because the other scenario is the complete splintering of the internet, which means the complete splintering of our reality.
That's right. No, you don't want a Chinese internet, a U.S. internet, a U.K. internet. You don't want that. That's the whole point of the internet is everything flows freely.
And I feel like if TikTok were banned here or was forced to break off, I mean, China already does have its own internet. I think it would be completely reasonable for European countries to look at our, American-owned social media and be like, now wait a minute. These platforms actually, like Facebook actually was shown to be used by meddling foreign agents in our last election. Maybe we should do something about those. And someone should do something about those. But it does contribute to the complete splintering of the main way that we communicate now, which scares me a lot.
So that's a really good point, Simone. But I think that the thing we lost that we could have really had the moment about is algorithms and how they work. Like, for example, people said that TikTok, because its algorithm was in China, could be used to influence voters in America. True. Now, was it happening? I don't think so. But it could happen. But one thing we should do is turn that lens around to its stuff from home. We don't know how the news feed works. We probably should. There probably should be more clarity around how these major social algorithms work, so we can better understand how we're being manipulated is a strong word, but influenced, say, by these major companies.
Did you watch the Netflix
100%.
Social Dilemma? Has anybody watched that?
My mom says I should, but I haven't.
No,
yet.
don't. Your mom's wrong. I tried to watch it. It's awful. It's complete propaganda. And, obviously I'm not a Facebook fan, but it's completely slanted. It's one of those, they have these fake montages of like a family who, and, the kid is just, can't raise his eyes away from the phone because he's always on Facebook. It's Reefer madness for the 21st century. Do you remember that movie? Any of you old enough to remember that?
Yes. No, it's hilarious. But
it's a anti-marijuana movie from the 40s, I think. And all the horrible things that'll happen to you if you smoke the happy weed. This is that. This is that. This is, No,
it's the devil's cabbage for a new generation. But I mean, I do worry that the people's interactions online are being so directed, and from an algorithmic perspective, it makes great sense. People like this, therefore we should promote this. But if you think back to, I'm being an old fart here, but I mean, when I grew up in the UK in the 1970s, we had 3 television channels, about 8 national newspapers, and about 4 radio channels. And now I do what, and compared to 100 years ago where you just had a few newspapers and that was it, the amount of information that people are having to deal with right now is really, really disturbing. When you look at psychologically how people deal with this, they just basically turn it off and you go with tribal bases. So we're facing a very interesting sort of crux point of civilization in terms of how we deal with information overload. And we haven't had to deal with this before. It's going to be very interesting and possibly very horrifying in terms of how we deal with it.
Well, we're not. I mean, look at QAnon.
Yeah, we're not.
Oh, sorry,
No, it's okay. I was just going to say, I think Trump being diagnosed with COVID is a perfect example of that happening, because even I found myself just kind of compulsively checking the news, even though I know, it's been an hour. Nothing's happened in the last hour. I don't need to be constantly checking, but the fact that I can, I think just encourages bad habits.
And it's when you say the news, you mean Twitter.
Actually, I mean NPR.org. But go on.
Oh, don't lie.
Artisanal Twitter. Free
NPR represent, definitely.
Oh, all right. If you say so. It's funny. I wake up in the morning, first thing in the morning, check Twitter. Who else is sick? So we're going to take a little break, come back with the final segment, but I do want to play. We had a wonderful week. Can you turn my audio on? We had a wonderful week this week on Twitter, on Twit. We're not Twitter. But we had a wonderful week, and I have a little movie that shows a little bit of what happened this week on Twit.
Smoke, Mary?
Thanks. Are you sure Jimmy will be back soon?
Sure, any minute.
You know what they're smoking? Those aren't cigarettes. And Mary is about to get wild.
I mean, that was a real hit. That's a third.
Look at him. Uh-oh, here it comes. The crazy Mary Jane dreams. This is the most
she looks happy,
movie.
Relaxed.
I guess I saw it. I was pretty high when I saw it. Is this a bad part? Is this a boring part?
He's liable to take a powder on us and blow us topper to the DA. You mean you think we'd all...
Where's the party scene? That's what I want. You know what, John? I think our memory of this...
Okay, that's accurate.
That's just my laugh. What are you trying to say, Leo?
Hey, there's a terrible fight going on. Yes, apartment 32.
That's me when we're done with social distancing and I can touch people again.
I can touch a person. All right, this isn't turning out anything like I'd hoped. I guess literally I was so high when I saw this first time it seemed more amusing.
Why do they have guns?
Because they're marijuana users and she.
Are they NYPD?
Meanwhile, what's he going to stick around and what's he doing? Yeah, go ahead, you guys. Get those people in the paddy wagon. I'm going to see if there's any joints left.
Give me a glass of water.
Who's behind you?
No.
Go hang if you don't talk.
No.
Who hired you and Jack? Hurry. Are you ready to know what you know?
Yes.
There's an amazing film where they actually they take an acid user and she's just like, do I boil the baby or something? It's just
God. All right, we're going to actually show an actual promo. That was Reefer Madness. This is what happened this week.
Silhouette belongs on a coin. I feel like what? Yeah.
Oh, you do belong on a coin.
Regal.
I want the Jeff Jarvis quarter.
Previously on Twit. Hands on Android.
I have a phone that folds. That's right. It's the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 2 5G. I've got some tips and tricks coming at you next.
Twit events.
We thought it'd be kind of interesting to get some of the smartest people I know together to talk about how business is going to change when the world gets back to normal.
I think the COVID aftershocks will be with us for many, many years into the future. And it doesn't all have to be bad.
Tech News Weekly.
Why did Google decide that the unlocked version of the Pixel 5 in America needs millimeter wave when every other country on Earth where the Pixel 5 will be sold, no models will have millimeter wave? And the answer we're getting so far is basically Google felt pressured by carriers. And that, to me, is just so backward, and it's already resulted in price disparities.
Security Now.
What could possibly go wrong? We have Amazon Ring's announcement of their autonomous home security flying webcam. No one who designs and tests these things has a dog or cat. They would dive under the bed and never be seen again.
Twit.
Oh, what a week it was.
I'm sorry. I grew up with cats and Labradors. That flying drone is toast. The second it lands on its recharge station.
Oh yeah. Lisa wants to buy one at $250 just so we can give it to the cats to eat. We're going to dress it up like a bird. It's going to be so much fun.
Oh Oh my gosh.
Our show today brought to you by Barracuda. Every time I do these ads, I want that heart. Ding, 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 ding. Barracuda. Actually, Barracuda is really well known as the provider of cloud-enabled enterprise-grade security solutions for every part of your network. Email, data, applications, and of course the network itself. Now I want to tell you a little bit about Barracuda's total email protection, because we know 91% of all cyber attacks start with an email. I don't know if you read that great article, I think it was in the Atlantic, about the Norsk Hydro ransomware exploit. This happened last year. Wasn't that well written? This is one of the biggest aluminum makers in the world. How did this entire company get shut down? It cost them $60 million. They got shut down because of an email. An Italian customer sent an email to a Norsk Hydro employee with an innocent attachment, except it was intercepted and a malicious attachment was substituted. And that's all it took for the bad guys to take down that entire company, $60 million in losses. Now, put yourself in that position. You've got employees working remotely, dozens, hundreds, maybe even thousands. Each of one of them is getting tons of email every day. And all it takes is one click on the wrong email. And spear phishing, ransomware, account takeover, conversation hijacking. It could cost you money. It could cost you customers. It could cost you reputation. You've got to protect yourself against email threats, and that's where Barracuda is an expert. They've noticed, by the way, since this all started, a spike of 667% in COVID-related spear phishing attacks. That's a huge jump. They impersonate the World Health Organization, or worse, maybe they impersonate your HR manager or the boss. And they purport to have emails with important information. Open this PDF up. We want to protect you. Here's our policy. And you open it, and the whole thing is shot. You need the protection Barracuda Total Email Protection can offer. It includes all-in-one email security, backup, and archiving. That may be a legal requirement depending on your business. AI-based protection. And you want it AI-based because the threats are constantly shifting. From spear phishing, account takeover, business email compromise, you need protection that's as nimble and changes as rapidly as the bad guys are. It gives you an automated incident response that is really important. It gives you options to very quickly and efficiently address the attacks. We know the faster you react, the less damage there will be. And they even offer security awareness training for your workforce because, after all, aren't your employees the first line of defense? You need this. Now, I'm going to tell you there's a very easy way to see what threats are lying in your Outlook mailbox today. Barracuda is offering you a secure, free email threat scan of your Office 365 account. I don't care how big your business is. They'll do the whole thing. It's free. Barracuda.com/twit. Uncover those threats hiding in your inbox. No point in sticking your head in the sand. They're there. You need to know they're there. And you need to know that you can stop them. Barracuda.com/twit. One of the most respected names in security. And they're here to help with your email. Barracuda.com/twit. Barracuda, your journey secured. Treasury, speaking of ransomware, Treasury Department is now warning people, this is an advisory from the Office of Foreign Assets Control. If you pay ransomware to cyber actors, you will be violating FAC regulations and you could be prosecuted. So
that seems so unfair.
Not only are you hit by ransomware, your company's down, but if you dare to pay the ransom, which is, of course, everybody agrees a bad idea, but we know it happens often.
Yeah.
You could go to jail. What?
Do they have another solution for helping people get their stuff back? Or is that just like, no?
I don't know. I mean, this whole thing really worried me because, okay, first off, I mean, the Treasury statement was an advisory. They said it wasn't done by the rule of law, but that day is coming. But I mean, at the end of the day, we shouldn't be paying criminals to get our data back. You should be investing instead in proper data backups and restore facilities so that you can say to these people, get lost, we can have this back up in 24 hours. It has been done before. It can be done again. Put the initial investment in there, and you can tell the criminals to go swivel.
You know, it's getting harder, and I'll tell you why. And I know it's harder because companies like Norsk Hydro, who should be prepared for such a thing, in fact, they had a plan, still were unable to stop it and fix it. And here's a couple of reasons. First of all, these ransomware guys are getting very sophisticated, and they're now targeted attacks. This isn't an email that's sent to 1 million people across the country looking for 100 Bitcoin. They're going after your company. So they're very sophisticated spear phishing attacks. The other thing is they don't trigger the ransomware right away. And I think this is one of the reasons it's a big threat. What we're seeing is they will wander around your network for months, sussing out all your, for instance, backup strategies, all your offline backups, infecting whichever of those they can infect, and doing something, and this is the new thing, exfiltrating data. So Canon, this happened to Canon, remember? Canon got encrypted, lost a lot of data. They didn't pay the ransomware, so the second arm of this attack was to release information about Canon customers to the public net. So it's blackmail on two fronts. You ever want to see your data again, pay us. Oh, and by the way, we have all of the information about your customers, and if you don't pay us, we're going to release that. So it's a lot. It's hard. I'm terrified. I'm terrified.
I got to say, the one that really scared me most was the Maersk hit. You know, second largest container carrying organization in the world. They were down to paper after getting hit by a ransomware attack. You know, this was a serious economic hit, and we can't just keep paying these people off. We need to build systems which can, you know, bounce them off like a wren off a screen door. You know, I mean, it's just a question of getting the infrastructure in there and the backup systems in there. And I get they're getting smarter. They are going to go in and try and, you know, deal with all this stuff. But we've dealt with this with viruses. We've dealt with this in other areas. This has to be dealt with because otherwise we're just paying criminals.
Well, worse than that, people are dying. So a German hospital reported that after a ransomware attack, a patient died because of lack of care. This week, the Universal Health Services was attacked. This is one of the largest healthcare operations in the world. They care for 3.5 million patients every year, 400 facilities in the U.S. and the U.K. They were down just as the same thing. They were down to using paper. Their X-ray machines were offline. They couldn't use them.
Oh, my God.
They had to, and this is the sad part of it. They had to redirect ambulances to other hospitals. They reported that 4 patients died because of that redirection. So this is now costing lives. This is now very, very serious. I completely agree with you, Iain. I just think it's almost impossible to stop.
Yeah, I completely agree with Iain, but I also think it becomes an arm race just like it is with any other hack where they're going to keep getting better. White hats are going to keep building stronger systems, but they're going to kind of move in tandem.
And by the way, speaking of Satan, what kind of evil person attacks a hospital network during a pandemic? That is a monster. That is somebody who values Bitcoin more than human life. Shocking.
Well, I was going to say, I'm sorry, this is the way that criminals operate. There's a thing in the UK where if somebody had a disabled handrail installed outside their flat, they get robbed because people knew they were disabled. Criminals have, they're scum this way. And I'm sorry, you need to fight them direct. And what worries me about the ransomware thing is insurance companies are encouraging companies to pay off the ransomware because it's a cheaper solution than actually rebuilding from scratch. So you're encouraging crime by the insurance industry. So I think, honestly, it's time for people to say, if you are legally liable if you don't have the ability to recover from this stuff. Because this is just going to grow and grow and grow otherwise. We need to cut this off right now.
Yeah, I think there's definitely nothing wrong with making it harder for them.
I think make it harder for the criminals to get in, but also stiffer civil penalties. Like when the Equifax hack happened, I thought the company should be put out of business. They arrogated themselves the right to collect all of my information, which I didn't really like, to be clear. And then they lost it all in a very embarrassing manner. and they were given a slap on the wrist. No, that should be a shut down offense. And I think if we had that level of civil penalty in place for companies that are bad at cybersecurity, yet demand the right to have lots of our data, then we would see real reform. Then we would see more money going into cybersecurity, more into offense and defense. But we just don't see it because they know that if they get hacked, what are the people going to do about it? Maybe they'll lose some customers, but it's not the end of the world.
That's damn right. Equifax actually made a profit out of that hack because they put third-party, security checking services, which they happen to own, as part of the deal. Their share price went up after they did a deal with the DOJ. There is no penalty on this, so you should really penalize companies for bad security. But it ain't happening at the moment.
I don't want to get political, but meanwhile, H-1B visas have been basically cut off by the White House. New restrictive rules greatly reduce the number of foreign workers. This was opposed by Apple, Microsoft, Facebook, Intel, PayPal, and Twitter, among dozens of others, because these tech giants often bring in highly trained security personnel and others. These are the highest skilled, in many cases, tech workers. So in a way, you're saying, and by the way, let's not let any of those people from foreign countries come in and help us with this problem. There is a workforce grant program. They're going to give up to 30 grants to train U.S. citizens for middle to high-skilled H-1B occupations, which is a great idea. $150 million is going to be allocated to this. It's going to be years before they can replace these workers that we're losing. And it's honestly an anti-immigrant thing. These H-1B visas have been around for a long time. They're not taking jobs. You know what? If you think they are, then great. Give these grants, get Americans trained to take the jobs, but don't yet cut off the H-1B visa, because it may be that's exactly the wrong thing to do at this time.
I mean, I've got to say, I was with Trump on the H-1B thing, and this is not as a thing I would say in pretty much any other area of policy, but if you look at the H-1B applications from 2010 to about 2015, 80% of those weren't for the really high-class computer technicians. They were for basic admin skills. And they were being used by outsourcing firms to basically
that's wrong. I agree with you.
Get people in, and that was fundamentally wrong.
Yeah.
But at the current situation, we've got no one is wanting. They've had to redo the H-1B auction a second time because no one wants to come to America.
It's over, yeah. So even if you didn't cut it off, nobody's applying. I wonder why.
Well, I mean, the problem is tech firms use this to keep salaries low. Because if you've got an H-1B worker who knows that if you fire him, he's got to get him and his family out of the country in 30 days.
That's right.
That's a very big incentive to abuse workers.
Yep.
Now, I'm all for getting the best talent into the U.S. using the H-1B system, but it was abused for many years. This isn't a solution, though.
No. Yeah. I have friends that are on H-1B visas who are in the upper echelon tech jobs working for big four American tech companies paying loads of American taxes and not suffering from what you're accurately describing. So if we could find a way to cleave off the abuse, I'd be in favor of it. But fundamentally, I'm going to be more opposed to anti-immigrant policies than I'm going to be worried about wage issues inside of tech. Yeah, can I pick a poison, I suppose? There's no perfect way out of it, I don't think, Ian.
No, that's fair enough.
If you're in Ireland, you should know that the bread that Subway uses to make their sandwich actually...
Oh, God, this was terrible.
It's not legally defined as bread. I think this is pretty funny. The Irish court said there's too much sugar in it.
Oh, wow.
It's
okay.
Cake. It is cake. It's not bread.
So it can't be categorized as a staple food. Staple foods in Ireland are not taxed. Subway bread is, in fact, taxed because it has a sugar content of 10% of the weight of the flour in the dough, highly exceeding the 2%.
What are they doing with that bread? Why is
it's so tasty, though. You know, I'm willing to bet that McDonald's hamburgers have their fair share of sugar in them as well.
Oh, yeah.
But no, I mean, as a Brit, this has been something which, okay, bread, it's your daily staple. But it's just horrifying the amount of sugar you put into bread.
It's cake. You're right.
I mean, there is a bread in our local supermarket. There's a bread that advertises only 1 gram of sugar per slice.
What?
Seriously?
Per slice?
I mean, yeah. Now, I make my own bread. I put, at maximum, a teaspoon of honey in there. But the amount of sugar in American bread is horrifying. I buy diabetic sliced loaves simply to avoid it and make my own now.
When I make my bread, it's got flour, water, salt, and starter. I don't put sugar in it.
Yeah.
Do you know how hard it is to buy
very delicious,
yogurt without sugar?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Everything in America has so much sugar in it. Like just trying to find things that have no added sugar is like a grocery store sleuthing experiment. And I've been trying to see my abs. So I've been working on cutting out some sugar in my diet.
Sugar's poison.
Yeah,
but it's a cheap additive, and it's a preservative, and it really adds to the mouthfeel of every delicious treat.
Well, yeah, but I mean, at the same time, it's just ruinously unhealthy.
Oh, it's terrible.
I mean,
for you.
my waistline has gone through the roof, but the amount of sugar in pretty much everything over here is terrible.
Happy
So
news.
you would be pro something like this happening in the U.S.
Yes.
as in Ireland.
Subway, take the sugar out.
Well, the scary thing about Subway is their chicken is they sued a Canadian broadcast company journalists who analyzed their chicken and found that it was 42.8, I think, % chicken. It was under 50% chicken.
The rest is corn. I guarantee you. I guarantee you.
The rest is emulsifier and fillers and the rest of it.
Yeah.
And they actually sued these journalists and lost. You know, the idea is you could put out chicken that is less than 50% actual meat. You'd sue against them and lose. Yeah, you've lost the argument. I've eaten Subway once since I came over here and never again.
If you ever learn something like this about the Popeye's chicken sandwich, I need you to not tell me.
Have you tasted
Do not
it?
say
Have
anything.
you had one? I've never had one. Are they good?
I love Popeyes.
I've had several and they're great.
Yeah, but this isn't just any Popeyes, Alex. This is their chicken sandwich, their new chicken sandwich. This is a special thing.
I'm sorry,
Leo. All Popeyes is good. It's just all Popeye. If I see Popeyes, I'm going to pull over. Like 100%.
Really? I have never
every
been to
time.
a Popeyes.
It's so good. I got onto them in New Orleans. And now whenever I see one, I'm like, we got to go now. So
You're talking
pretty terrifying.
You're talking their buttermilk fried chicken sandwich, right? You're not talking just any. You're talking a crispy.
I'm talking about that.
I tried it, and it's just like I couldn't work out what the fuss was about. It's like it's a bog standard fried chicken sandwich.
That's because you're British.
Look at this is from a guy who thinks a bacon buddy is edible.
Yeah.
No, a bacon butty is the food of the gods, and I will stand and die on that hill.
I rest my case.
Just because you like Nando's and won't like any other chicken doesn't mean you need to crap all over really important homegrown American specialties like Popeye.
Yeah, we don't have choices, Ian. We have to make do with what we've got.
It's interesting though. I worked in a Kentucky Fried Chicken when I was a student, and I can never eat it again because I know what goes on behind things. I am tempted by a Chick-fil-A though. I've never had one. What is the fuss about?
No, I'm not going to Chick-fil-A because I don't like. They don't like. I don't.
No,
like
I mean they've
politics.
got lousy corporate policies, but is it that good? Because people keep on talking about it.
Look,
and
look.
Popeyes,
I want. Okay, okay. The show is over, kids. Everybody go home. I'm out of here. I got to go get a chicken sandwich.
I mean, there were fights breaking out over this. It can't be that good. Why would you punch someone over a chicken sandwich?
Wait a minute.
People punch
Have you ever
people
been
over
really,
Black Friday
really,
deals.
really hungry, man?
Popeyes near me. I gotta find a Popeyes now. Oh, there's
Well, we
one
found the
5.5 miles away. I'm on my way. Popeyes, Louisiana.
Come on, Leo.
If
You have an
Popeyes doesn't
In-N-Out.
sponsor this show now.
No, I wish they did.
Not
though.
yet.
If they
Come on,
did,
Leo.
I would.
Leo, you have an In-N-Out just 5 miles down the road. Go and get
That's
a double with monster sauce.
Oh, that's pretty good too. Okay, Simone, which would you prefer? Which would you rather? A double with monster sauce. Is that what you just said, Ian?
Yeah.
Or versus a Popeyes buttermilk chicken sandwich.
That's really hard because I do believe that the burger is like a good burger is the pinnacle of food. However, I do love that sandwich. I think I would go for the sandwich.
I like how correct that was, though. She said correctly that burgers are the pinnacle of the food pyramid. True. But she would go for the sandwich. Correct. That was exactly right. Simone, I want to become your friend at some point in time because you've got good taste.
We're already friends.
Oh,
we're Luddites.
There we go.
We're on Twitch together.
Oh, you Luddites.
I'm so it's 8 o'clock here on the East Coast. I haven't had dinner yet.
All right, you go eat. You go eat. We're gonna wrap this up because I got a Popeye. I got a date with Popeye. I want to thank Olive Oil for joining us, a.k.a. Simone de Rochefort. You kind of look a little bit.
I've been told that before so many times.
Yeah.
As soon as you said I have a date with Popeye, I was like, people have said that I look like Olive Oil. And you went there. I can't believe it.
I would gladly pay you Tuesday for a Popeye's chicken sandwich today. Simone, you're great. Thank you. Please come back. I just love having you on. She is a video producer by day at Polygon. Doom Quasar on the Twitter. Don't know what that means, but it sounds dangerous. However, of course, you must listen to Rocket, her podcast with Brianna and Christina. It's such a good show. It's on relay.fm. Anything else you want to plug?
I've got a video coming out on Polygon's YouTube channel on October 19th on architecture in video games, and it's going to be very cool.
Oh.
And yeah, we just had our 300th episode on Rocket. Don't listen to the old ones. It's a news show, so like the old ones are completely out of date by now, but come back and listen to our show. It's very fun.
Wait a minute. Game architecture. Do you have a background in architecture?
I don't. I have a layman's interest in architecture. But I talked to Stuart McDonald, who did the world design for Control, which came out last year, and it takes place in this incredible, trippy, brutalist building. And it's just basically about all the ways that architecture manifests in games and how it can tell us what to do without explicitly like saying, hey, you have to do this, but you behave a certain way because of the building that you're in.
Control is full of what they call brutalist architecture.
Oh, hey, I made that.
I know you did.
Thanks.
Yeah, and
I shot that on my iPhone.
Yeah, this is real New York stuff. Wow, I can't wait. So that'll be coming out in a couple of weeks. She's working on it right now. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Simone.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me plug.
Yeah, of course. Iain Thomson is our favorite Scotsman. And he writes for the Register.
By birth, if not accent. But no.
Yeah, I know. He's got some posh upper class accent, replaced his good Scottish brogue. If you had to, could you Scotify it?
I could, but I'd sound a wee bit, false. But I have just put on the IRC channel a British fry-up, which is the best food ever created. But my Scots heritage I'm proud of. I look damn good in a kilt. Got married in one. Yeah.
See, this kind of really casts some doubt on your judgment regarding the Popeye's chicken sandwich.
Oh, come on! Look, you've got black pudding at 3:00 on the right hand side.
What is black pudding made out of, Iain Thomson?
Fear.
It's blood, fat, and oatmeal.
And it's blood that makes it black.
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
But basically, black pudding and haggis. Black pudding is blood and fat. Haggis is sheep's heart, lungs, and entrails. It's what my Scottish uncle called what's left of the sheep after some English bastard has gone through and stolen the rest of it. But I mean, look at it. It's glorious. The sausage baked bean dam. The bacon.
I just lost
my
appetite for Popeye's chicken sandwich.
Yeah, I'm good. I don't need anything more again. I'm full for life after the haggis description. I think that's like a Scottish prank. I don't think people actually eat those. I think they put them out to scare people like me.
I think it's a hangover cure. You'd be,
Are you kidding? I ate that in 20 minutes flat and was just. Give me more, You
weren't comatose? That would kill me. If I ate that much food, you should roll me out in a wheelbarrow.
Yeah, but you know what? There's no sugar in it at all.
But I got criticism online for that because I didn't include fried bread and I didn't include a grilled tomato. Now, grilled tomato, not how I roll. Fried bread, it was enough food as it was. But a proper British fry-up, Seriously, that's the dog's bollocks. It's just
That's my point exactly.
The dog's bollocks? Is that part of the haggis? Do they go in? Does that go in the haggis?
Register.com.
There's the reason dogs lick them.
And Alex Wilhelm, thank you so much for being here from my childhood home in beautiful Rhode Island. He writes for TechCrunch. Anything you want to plug?
So I'm on
disgusting
Twitter
meal
Alex.
that you like to eat? Anything,
I mean, I'm learning how to cook, but I'll just say this: I've never had haggis, and I'm going to die that way. I'm going to die a better man for it. And with that, we can go back to you, Leo.
What's the name of that cute dog on your Twitter account? That is a cute little puppy.
Oh, that's one of our two little Havanese. That dog is Scout.
I love Havanese.
He is the smaller of the two, and they are both inside the house right now, probably being brats. I'm going to go inside and say hi to them in just a minute.
Scott, you're a Scotsman, even if he's a Havanese.
He does watch a lot of Scottish television because I watch Scottish television, so he's a fan. But he speaks no English, sadly. There he is.
And of course, Alex is the only person I know on Twitter that has a balance sheet for his big Twitter photo background. Okay,
just keeping it real.
Who is that I hear faintly laughing
That's
in the background?
John. That's John. Jammer V, our technical director for the show today. John is our studio audience for the day. It's kind of
John's
like
fantastic.
It's kind of like the Tonight Show, where it's just people who work here that can laugh at the jokes.
I'm glad he's having a good time.
He's having a good time. Thank you, Simone. Thank you so much, Iain. Thank you so much, Alex. You guys are great. This has been the most bizarre twit in history, and I loved every second of it. Thank you so much. We do This Week in Tech. Technically, it's a news roundtable this week. I don't know what it was. We do it every Sunday around 2:30 Pacific, 5:30 Eastern, 21:30 UTC. You can watch or listen live. Now, if you're in the UK, if you go to twit.tv/live, there's video feeds and audio feeds. But I do want a little programming note. If you're in the UK, there are two audio feeds. There's TuneIn and Spreaker. TuneIn, after an adverse court ruling, will no longer play United States podcasts in the UK. They're terrified of Sony and Warner Music. So it will say that we are.
Heard about
yes, we are blocked on TuneIn UK, which is nuts. Because
that's bollocks.
I didn't even play Fleetwood Mac's Dreams. So but anyway, that's the way it is. But so anywhere in the world except the UK, you can listen on TuneIn. Spreaker does work in the UK, so use the Spreaker channel. I apologize. Also, if you watch us on Roku, as you might already know, we're certainly getting a lot of email. Roku changed their API, broke our app. You can't watch Twit on Roku through the old Twit app. There are other ways. There's probably the best is the YouTube app, but we are looking at, there's apparently Roku has another way to do, if you have a RSS feed, which obviously we do, there's another way to do it where you wouldn't get the live stuff, but you'd at least get the shows and you could watch the video. We are working on that. Meanwhile, come to our website, twit.tv, to download shows, audio or video, or subscribe in your favorite podcast client, because all podcast clients can get it. And that way you'll have it for Monday morning and your early morning fry-up. There's nothing.
Food of the gods.
Nothing
Food of the gods.
like sausage with your morning twit. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time. Another twit is in the can. I got to go to Popeyes. I can't take it anymore. You guys are driving me insane.
Doing the twit.